All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It is a Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. Every year on this day, we're talking about the significance of 47. Of course, the number 1128 is the 47th triangular number. If you're new here, 47 is a very special number to the Freemasons. And Washington, D.C., known as the Masonic City and the cornerstone for D.C., laid on 47 date numerology by the Freemason George Washington. The reason the number 47 is important is because of the 47th problem of Euclid, which you learned about in math class, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but it goes back to the Greek mathematician Euclid. And again, it's so important mathematically. It's what allowed the first master builders to erect the structures that they did that lasted for centuries, just like how you can go today in Europe and see these old structures. But the 47th problem of Euclid has to do with foundation. You think about this nation, its birthday, the 4th day of the 7th month. And then gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. A lot of Freemasonry's teachings are in the Old Testament and Kabbalah, which are related things, Jewish mysticism. And again, in gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, amazingly, all these things equate to 47 using the English numerical system within the alphabet. President equals 47, White House, government, authority, Republican, Democrat, all 47. Big presidential number. Again, Joe Biden, the current president, with all the parallels to Jimmy Carter. Again, today on 11/28, where 1128 is the 47th triangular number. We're hearing about the burial of Jimmy Carter's wife and him being in attendance. Former president, the 39th U.S. president. So, again, presidential, the number 47. Words like government and authority are also 47. It's a number of authority. It's a number of time. It's a number that many rituals are performed around. Again, the headquarters of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is in D.C. They don't spell right in Scottish Rite like R-I-G-H-T, like your rights, like the Bill of Rights. Not those kind of rights. They spell it R-I-T-E, where it's right like a ritual rite. You perform rituals to get your rights. Every day, what is going on in this world to the unknowing masses who are not a member of these secret societies are rituals, and they're presented as news stories and sports games, but they all shape ideas in the populace's minds that become controlled by these ideas. And with the control through the ideas and the entertainment, they get steered along by a cabal that is operating in a code of Kabbalah. And it goes on day after day. You know, Israel's up there right now, of course, the nation that was drawn up in 47. We're about to talk about the NBA and LeBron. You know, he started out in the 47 state Ohio. You know, in the first ever men's college basketball tournament was the state of Ohio. It just, again, the first NBA championship was in the year 47. The first Super Bowl was in the 47th season of the NFL. Massive 47 ritual in the MLB All-Star game this year up on the 47th parallel, where the American League stayed on 47 wins hosting in the series, and the National League won their first game in 11 years on the 11th of July. But anyway, 47, special number. Today, just Jimmy Carter's wife's funeral, top news story. Before we get into the topic at hand, just wanted to cover that because people will ask about it. And again, go back and revisit the work we've done on November 28th in past years, last year, the year before that. And 2 years ago, it was the death of the fashion designer at age 41, like Kobe, which shocked people. And, you know, the day Kobe died even had 47 date numerology. But it was the fashion designer connected to those labels out of France, which is the big 47 nation, where the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry came to power, and how a Scottish Rite Freemason from France laid out the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., which is the 47 city. So anyway, LeBron losing by his career worst margin, 44. The reason this stands out, that's what we're going to talk about, why this stands out, because we've been talking about this month with the NBA and what's going on with Michael Jordan and the NBA schedule. and how Michael Jordan's this significant age right now, 60, a number that has a lot to do with the deaths of Kobe Bryant, Moses Malone, and Daryl Dawkins, which are all deaths connected in ritual. And again, we're going to get to that. But a lot of these guys are huge names in NBA history. And of course, LeBron's another one of these big names. And the reason this month is so interesting with Jordan is because on November 3rd, here, you know what? We got to make a point for the person who's new here. So transitioning to the topic at hand, Gematria, there are 4 base ciphers. The ciphers you really want to know. Well, you want to know all 4, but just to start out more simply, which is 2 on the screen, just like where we began when I started the work in 2013. For the first 3 years of my research, I pretty much just looked at these 2 ciphers. And for example, you see how Kobe Bryant equals 113 and 41? And remember, he died at age 41 while traveling from Catholic Mass on the Pope's 41st day of his age. And, his death was connected to Moses Malone, who's another 41, and Daryl Dawkins. We're going to get to why November 30th is so interesting. This game, Brooklyn versus Charlotte, 2 teams connected to Jordan on the anniversary of number 41's death, Herbert Walker Bush. It's a larger topic that we'll get into, but if you've ever heard of the secret society Skull and Bones, they have the Russell Trust. And again, you learn about these things, you start to see what's really running the NBA, these secret societies that do everything by a code. And Skull and Bones traces back to the Catholic Church, going with Kobe Bryant, dead at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age. Skull and Bones is modeled after the Templars, who are the old military order of the Catholic Church. But anyway, Kobe Bryant's 113, to bring it back to 113, and Michael Jordan's also 113. And where Michael Jordan's 59, Black Mamba's also 59. And again, that has to do with a racial thing. Motown Records in 59. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. The word slave, the word Negro, the word blues, the word Rasta, all 59. Again, Black Mamba, 59. Poisonous Steak, which venom stops hearts. Kobe buried in Corona Del Mar right before coronavirus, right before people's hearts started stopping for unknown reasons, says the medical world. Says the world of authorities that also told us the story of how Kobe supposedly went out. But again, Michael Jordan, 113. Kobe Bryant, 113. And only one team in the NBA that equals 113, and that's the Utah Jazz, who Kobe played his last game against. Utah, the state with the connections to Moses Malone, the first player out of high school. Anyhow, the point is we're making 113 matters a lot to the NBA. The National Basketball Association is also 113. And remember, it locked down shortly after Kobe's death on the 11th day of the 3rd month, 113, the same day as the coronavirus pandemic was declared out of Switzerland. Coronavirus pandemic's also 113. But it was blamed on the Frenchman Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz, the 113 team, and it was shortly after Kobe was buried in Corona Del Mar, right as coronavirus was taking over the news. So again, everything we talk about is bigger than sports. We're getting people to see how the world stage, the world is a stage. You've heard that phrase before. You start to understand how the world stage is rigged and being orchestrated ritualistically. And when you pay attention to it for a long time, day after day, season after season, year after year, you can get ahead of the code and understand the rituals that are unfolding. Like we said months ago, back when the NBA put out their schedule, we said we got to watch what the NBA does November 3rd, because Michael Jordan's from Brooklyn, and on November 3rd, which is the anniversary of Kobe Bryant making his NBA debut, on November 3rd, Michael Jordan's Brooklyn is playing his Chicago Bulls. So you had that game. And then we noticed on the other 113 date for the month, November 30th, Jordan, the team that he owned, which he had to sell this summer, the news broke on August 3rd that he had to sell the team. And the rumor is that he had bad gambling debts in a major way, and the only way to overcome it was to sell the team and get the funds to take care of him. And he sold the team for $3 billion, we were told. But Jordan sold the Hornets, and they play his Brooklyn Nets on November 30th, 11:30, 11 plus 30, 41, exactly 41 weeks into his age of 60. When, again, these numbers 41 and 60 connect the deaths of Moses Malone, Kobe Bryant and Daryl Dawkins. Moses Malone dropped dead at age 60 right after Daryl Dawkins died. Daryl Dawkins equals 60. They were both drafted out of high school with Philadelphia connections like Kobe. LeBron played in Philadelphia the day before Kobe's death and dropped Kobe to 4th all-time in scoring. The Black Mamba. Philly's court has the black snakes on it from the Don't Tread on Me. Again, the nation was founded in Philly, which gets its name from Revelation 3:7, about the Church of Philadelphia and the Synagogue of Satan. In Jewish gematria, Satan equals 232. There were 232 points scored in this game last night. This game in Philly with the Lakers, where Philly became 4-1 versus the West, beating LA, like LA's 41, and so is Kobe Bryant. And again, just think about it. LeBron's worst ever career defeat, all these games, all these years, and now just kind of another big coincidence, right? Another big coincidence that LeBron suffers his most humiliating defeat, losing by 44, a number highly connected to death. Remember, LeBron won his 4th championship exactly 41 weeks after his birthday on Father-Daughter Day in the season that Kobe died. And he won it in Orlando, the same place that Kobe won his 4th championship. Again, after Kobe fell to 4th in scoring, now he gets beat by 44 in Philly, right? He loses with 94 points. A basketball court is 94 feet long, 47 feet on each half of the court. And if you're wondering about the score of 138, there's a lot of things that could be speculated there. It's a day highly connected to the Jesuits, who are the modern Templars of the Catholic Church. Of course, LeBron's Catholic educated. 138 is a number that has a huge connection to Donald Trump, who had his convention in Cleveland, in the stadium that LeBron won the finals in for the Cavs on the real King James's birthday, June 19th, 2016. And again, this year, Trump's trying to repeat Cleveland history. In light of the, it actually might have a lot to do actually with Donald Trump the more I think about it, because Jim Brown's death, Jim Brown's another 41. Jim Brown died in LA on the 138th day of the year, the same day that LeBron lost the first game in the playoffs to Denver, who went on to win the championship. And again, if you're new here, over all the years, we've been showing how all of these things are a web of ritual, and you can see through the ritual at the number. Just like how Donald Trump equals 138, so does Dave Martinez, and so does Nationals. And the Nationals are the baseball team in Washington, D.C., managed by Dave Martinez, who won the World Series exactly 138 days after Trump's birthday, something we saw coming long in advance, way before it happened, from this knowledge. But, again, come back to the point about 113. Again, Jordan having these very significant games this month, or these games seemingly in tribute to Jordan in this month. November 3rd, Brooklyn versus Chicago. November 30th, Brooklyn versus Charlotte. The team Jordan played for the most. And now, and realize Jordan was, in a authoritative position with Charlotte for 13 years. Kobe was the 13th pick of the draft by Charlotte before being traded to LA. Again, if you're new here, the other half of the code. Notice how LA is 13 forwards, 4 with numerology. Kobe goes down to 4th in points scored after the new man in town, LeBron. He's playing for LA, and now he's passing Kobe, and then Kobe's dead the next day. But again, LA is 13 when you run the alphabetic order forward. L's the 12th letter, A's the 1st. LA is 41 when you run it in reverse. L's the 15th letter, A's the 26th. LA 13 and 41. Kobe dead at 41. His daughter dead at 13. 41's the 13th prime. And again, Kobe's full name, Kobe Bean Bryant, 54 forwards, 81 in reverse. Last night, Philly became 13 and 5. And we always talk about how important 135 is to Philadelphia, from its establishment date on 135 numerology to the Key of David, which is mentioned in regards to the Church of Philadelphia. The Key of David's 135. The Eagles got the big fly, Eagles fly, 135. Carson Wentz set the rookie record, 135 passes without a pick. Kobe, he was singing Fly, Eagles Fly right before the Eagles won the Super Bowl over Brady in the road playoff game in LA. And again, we saw that Eagles Super Bowl versus the Patriots before week 3 was played of that NFL season. And the Eagles kicker hit the 61-yard field goal, the rookie kicker at the time, that weekend, which was a good omen for what we were feeling. And we're like, look at that, man. Record 61-yard field goal for a rookie kicker from Philly. Right after what we just said about this year's Super Bowl, I watched Philly's going to start the year 10-1, just like they did again this year. Again, Philadelphia 65, a city established on the day, leaving 65 days left in the year. 2-2-3, of course, like the synagogue of Satan, like it's 2023, not that far off. But the 61, about 61, Jordan played his last game in Philly. And yesterday was 283 days after Jordan's birthday, the 61st prime number. He's 60 years old, meaning he's in his 61st year of life right now. He'll officially turn 61 February 17th, 2024, should he make it, and hopefully he does. Hopefully he doesn't join the 60 club for the NBA. But we know, as we're going to get to at the beginning of the month, when we were watching what could happen November 3rd, and the days before that, Bobby Knight, dead November 1st, the last coach to beat Jordan in college. Bobby Knight dead. He's 5th all-time in wins for a college coach. He died 5 days before the start of this NBA season. Of course, basketball is a game of 5-on-5. But then again, the very next day, Walter Davis died, who Jordan emulated his game after, who Jordan said was his favorite player, who also played at UNC. And we talked about the ritual they did with Walter Davis again and why it was on that November 2nd, the day before the obvious Jordan tribute with Bulls and Brooklyn. And by the way, Brooklyn, New York's another 2-2-3. But just like the synagogue of Satan. But yes, also with the 61. Darvin Ham, the coach of the Lakers, stayed on 61 all-time wins yesterday by losing in Philadelphia. He has 53 wins in the regular season and 8 in the postseason, 61 total wins, stayed on it in Philly, 283 days after Jordan's birthday, 61st prime, and again, just right after the Eagles become 10-1 again. And look into the Eagles' history of what they've done in history when they became 10-1. And don't forget that this year's Super Bowl is in the 101 Stadium, Las Vegas Raiders 101 hosting, and they became the Las Vegas Raiders in the 101st NFL season. And remember what happened right before the season began? See how Las Vegas Raiders is 61 and 101? Philadelphia Eagles, or excuse me, just Philadelphia alone is 61 and 101. And so is the word church, like in the Bible, it's the Church of Philadelphia. But if you don't remember what happened, Randall Cunningham, the Eagles great for a long time. Randall Cunningham was named the chaplain of, here, let me go back and, let's just go back and pull up these headlines. Randall Cunningham, child, hot tub, dead, age 2, chaplain, Las Vegas Raiders. There was an article on this at the time. So ABC News, this is June 30th, 2010. Looks like ESPN broke the story the same day. CBS News, they all did. And oh, yeah. So that's how we connected at the time. I was thinking that this child died right when the Raiders. Okay, my bad. So Randall Cunningham was named the team chaplain for the Las Vegas Raiders shortly after it was announced for sure they're going to that city for that season. And then we went back and looked and saw that how in history he had lost his child in a Vegas hot tub when they were 2. And we said, see, that's probably not an accident, and we were pointing out how Philadelphia has the connection with Las Vegas Raiders, and now this happening in the 101st season. Again, when you follow this year after year, day in and day out, you see how these narratives are unfolding. And remember, if you look into the hip-hop group, the Loonies, who are known for the song 5 on It, they have a song about the Raiders from over a decade before they went to Vegas about how the Raiders are going to Vegas. Look up that song. So it's probably around the same time that Randall Cunningham's child died in Las Vegas. But yeah, these are just all things to pay attention to, because year after year, as these things unfold and you just see how the pieces stack up and you're like, look how the ritual unfolded over a decade's time, more than a decade's time. Stuff is sick. That sacrifice back then, the people who write Randall Cunningham's checks, who are scripting out these leagues, they had all this planned out, all this time in advance. And so anyway, now LeBron's in Philly. And He's losing by 44, and we're just days before this November 30th game with Charlotte in Brooklyn. And again, well, look at the things they have to highlight in the story. They got to mention the 44-point loss. If I didn't say so already, when LeBron signed a lifetime contract with Nike, the first ever athlete to sign a lifetime contract, Nike was 44 years old at the time. And we'll find out what that means for LeBron. We'll find out what that means for LeBron as time goes on. But I mean, we know that number is fateful. Ask MLK on 4-4. Ask Malcolm X in the 44 ritual. Ask George Floyd up on the 44th parallel. Ask the first president to die in office just 1 month into his term, William Henry Harrison. And the Robert Archibald, short-term NBA player who died right before Kobe, that didn't get a fraction of the attention in all the articles about his death. They had to mention he played in 44 games in the NBA. And again, this happens to LeBron in Philly, where Kobe fell to fourth in points scored before LeBron won his fourth championship in Orlando, where Kobe also won his fourth championship. So look how they squeeze in this paragraph, CNN, the second paragraph after the 44-point loss, LeBron's worst. The next paragraph, got to hit the next number. Per the NBA, the biggest margin that James had lost by coming into Monday's matchup was 42 points when the Lakers were thrashed by the Indiana Pacers. And the thing you guys, this is why it never gets old. You see how Indiana Pacers has Gematria 114? We're going to get to the Blazers upset yesterday, the Pacers. Congrats to the winners. They were a 12.5-point dog. They're another notch in the belt for another huge underdog, where Gematria clearly showed why they were the better narrative despite being 12.5-point underdogs, which are the games we live for. But you see how Indiana Pacers is 114? Look at LeBron James, 114, and then the small way 42, right? In the time that LeBron was with, well, even still to this day, but just when he was with the Cavs and he played Indiana a lot more, we were just constantly showing how they'd figure out one way or another to pay tribute to these numbers, especially 114 when LeBron played Indiana. And there's a NFL receiver, James Hardy, who was found dead in the Indiana River. It was right before the playoff series with LeBron and Indiana, and I forget, he used to date a celebrity. It was a big old sick, obvious murder ritual, one of many for LeBron's ongoing scripted career. But, when the Blazers upset the Pacers yesterday as 12.5-point underdogs, they scored 114. It's just, it becomes comical when you've done this for as long as the people in this community have. And usually, I mean, most of the work has been mine. For the first 5 years, it was almost all me. But anyway, I like to say we, because there's more people here now doing the work, and they know the same things because they've seen it now. Even though they've only been here for the last 5 years, they've already seen it. It feels like a million times. And here it is again. But yeah, they got to let you know LeBron's biggest loss before that was 42. And remember, 42, just the number that's racially all over history and sports history. Jackie, 42, number 42. First black baseball player in white major league, only he wasn't. It was actually Moses Walker, who doesn't go down in the history books, but if you look it up, he played in exactly 42 games. And again, just like every name you can think of, Martin, 42, Malcolm X, 42. Think about Martin and Malcolm X. Neither of those were their birth names. Here's another guy who it wasn't his birth name, Muhammad Ali, 42, also 201. And on and on and on. And when they're not coding 42, they're coding 59, right? Like Michael Jordan's 59 and 76, just like Slave is 59 and 76, and Negro and Rasta and Blues and on and on and on. And remember, Ephesians 6, the verses 5 through 9 are the most infamous verses about slavery in the Bible. And Acts 7:6 is one of the most well-known verses in the Bible about 400 years of slavery. And remember, from understanding Acts 7:6, and look at Barack Obama. Acts is the 44th book of the Bible. Acts is the 44th book of the Bible. Barack Obama 76, slave 76. LeBron loses by 44 against the 76ers. And why are we still asking who's doing this? We know, remember when we hit on tonight, I believe, go back and double check it, probably depend on books, but either Philadelphia 76ers were a 12.5-point dog or a 13.5-point dog on the Illuminati's birthday this year, May 1st. Again, the Illuminati founded in 1776, just like America. United States, July 4th, 1776. But again, we smashed a huge upset that day because Philly got their 247th all-time postseason win. the day of the Illuminati's 247th birthday. And I'd have to go back and look at my notes from that day because there was actually 247s lined up in that game if Philly won on the Illuminati's 247th birthday as a huge underdog. And they did. And again, that's the beauty of the knowledge. You're patient with the knowledge. You wait for mega rituals to come up with great value. You follow consistent patterns with great value. You know, last night, you guys, for people who don't know the history of me, I've always told the same story because it's true. When I got into this research, I wasn't looking into sports being rigged by this code. I saw that something was going on with news stories. I know some funny things in sports over the years growing up. My dad was a big 49ers fan. I'll never forget when they beat San Diego with 49 points in the Super Bowl. And then, you know, if only I knew that NFL was 49 back then, and America and Scottish and American football is credited to a Scottish Rite Freemason. I mean, I wish somebody would have told me back then, but I was like, that's interesting. But again, I'm from Portland, Oregon, for people who don't know. And I just realized once I became aware of this knowledge in 2013, I became aware in August. So a basketball season was starting about a month and a half later. And, you know, just catching the ESPN ticker all the time. You got the news on, your phone comes up, it's got the latest sport blurb. I just started to realize, because it stood out to me that Portland equaled 100, or that Portland equaled 37. Because just when I was learning about this, I was like, that's funny. My name is also 37, and I'm from Portland. So I thought that was interesting. And you see how Portland's 100? Even my full name, it also has the 100 connection. I didn't realize that until years later because I wasn't running the alphabetic order in reverse. But anyway, it stood out to me a lot that Portland equaled 37 because I just thought, that's interesting. I was reading some book about how there's an organic side to this. So I started to notice that just constantly in the ticker, I'd see that, you know, Portland update 37 points of the quarter. Lillard just dropped 37. Lillard game winner from 37 feet. The streak of 37 ended. This player dropped 37. This guy came in and scored. I was just like, God, now that I'm aware of this, it's crazy. It's like, and then I started to look back through history. I was like, man, this number's been in Portland history. And so that part did not register until I became aware of Gematria. But last night, Blazers were a huge underdog. You want to guess what their record became? Upsetting Indiana. You know, here's and for people who say the work's fraud, again, we do live streams and we go over things more. But when I put out the notes, they're very simple to read. I mean, if you have like a third grade level of education, you should be able to look at the notes and come to a conclusion about what looks like the better side of the equation. So like, for example, I always look at the head-to-head, the coaches, and if anything else stands out about the game. And last night's right up. You can see the Blazers are a 12.5-point underdog, and I weigh it out like I do for each game. Portland can become 3-7 away. Portland 37, a pattern we've won on a million times. My video about Damian Lillard's 37-foot game winner, another one he had in history that knocked out the Thunder in the playoffs. In our live stream that day, we expected Lillard to hit the game winner because of how scripted it was with his birthday and the way the 37s were. And it was this huge 37 ritual. And then we laughed our asses off and we were right about him hitting the game winner. And the headline was that it was a 37-footer. And there's been so many accomplishments like this in this community. There's a lot of people who have now learned. You know, a lot of people don't like Itachi a whole lot, and I understand why. He honestly bugs me a lot, but he's a great contributor in sports because he has a good mind and he's taken the research to very specific things and made some unprecedented predictions. Is he a questionable person? Yeah. Is he suspect? Hell yeah, he is. But again, you guys, if you don't like Itachi, like some of you guys can't stand him, then just don't watch. Or if you realize there's value to his work and you hate 90% of everything else, take the value part and don't bitch about the rest. Give credit where it's due. But anyway, Portland and 37, something we've been talking about for it's probably about 10 years now. It's probably about this time that I probably was doing my first post on like, hey, I've been noticing this thing with Portland and 37. But also another strong number in Indiana is 34. Portland's upset. They became 3-4 versus the East. Those are both strong numbers with both teams that we've documented over the years. So you have two strong things on the side of a 12.5-point underdog. What I teach people is how to bet low, win big, bet low, lose small. You know, play small to win big. That's what we've always taught. And if you're patient and selective and wait for games like these and consistent patterns, you won't win this every time, but you'll win it enough that you stay ahead of the curve. You know, that this game right here, just alone, paid 4 times your money. You put this in a parlay with some other games that look good. Like Philly almost looked like a lock last night, too. You stick that with Philly, you get an even bigger multiplier. Denver had a great narrative to upset the Clippers, as we had in the notes last night, as an underdog. You don't get Denver with a lot of value like that very often in recent times. But yeah, the way it's weighed out, Pacers can pick up the 61st loss in the series on 61 date numerology. And of course, that note's also in the Lakers game how Darvin Ham can stay on 61 wins against Philadelphia, the 61 city, on 61 date numerology, as he did. And it was 9-date numerology. Pacers can stay on 9 wins as they did on 9-date numerology. And I'll always highlight what I think is a decent dollar parlay narrative. And some are definitely a lot better than others. And again, in that one, you got 2 rock solid patterns plus 3 other things that can work out. And on the other side, the thing you got to weigh is the Pacers could get to 7-4 versus the Oregon team. That 74 plays a lot better with the Blazers in Oregon. But the way they write Indianapolis IN, it also has the 74. So that's the other thing to think about. And the Pacers could become 10-6. That Blazers 106 pattern's weaker. That's why it's not in bold. Bold are strong patterns. Non are patterns that could happen but are weaker. And again, it's right here. Just like the strong number with Portland is 37 over and over in history. Does 44 play with Portland? Yeah, sometimes it does. And if it was like one thing to think about, it's like, not so good. But if it's 44 date numerology and the coach can get his 44th all-time win, you'll be laughing when that team's blowing them out and they scored 44 points in the first quarter in the new NBA where nobody plays defense. But again, the power of the knowledge. So again, like I always teach you, weigh the scales. And usually in most games, there are 2 sides to the equation. So you always got to consider. It's why you don't bet the house, but it's like I teach you, if you spend $5 a day on this strategy, maybe some days you sit out because you don't see anything great, which it is that way some days. There's only a few games to choose from. Things don't look that good. I mean, you don't got to waste $5 that day if you're not feeling anything. But if you lose $5, again, if the strategy is to bet 5 to win upwards of 50, which a lot of people do, and they can multiply the 5 a lot bigger. But if you're winning on average when you do win by a margin, if you're doing times 8 your money, times 10 your money, that means you have to win 1 out of 8 to be breaking even. If you can win more than 1 out of 8, you're constantly adding a profit. And over the years, we've easily been able to do that with the knowledge. It's like this year, I'm not having the greatest NFL season, but week 12 was good. Week 11 was very good. Week 9 was very good. We'd had 2 decent weeks earlier in the year, and then we'd had some really bad and mediocre weeks, which hurt. And they were this close to being good weeks as well, but there's just been games that have been killing us this year. But again, the point is, if you're multiplying and you're betting small and building consistently over time, and then when you're losing, you're giving some back, but you're not giving it all back at once like so many gamblers do. Again, we've taught smart ways, and these methods can be applied to other things in life. We're trying to teach you how to be intelligent about things. Gambling can be destructive, but it can also be fun, and it can also be lucrative if you're smart about it. And again, it doesn't have to be an addiction. It doesn't have to be an obsession. It doesn't have to be something where you're ruining your life over. If you can learn to have control with it and be smart with it, you can actually benefit. Shout out to people like Chris in Vegas and Victor and Rod and Martin and all the other people who've used the knowledge to better their position in the world. Shout out to Big Al. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who I'm not naming. But yeah, again, the knowledge is real. The critics are pathetic people. It's like the troll who makes videos about me all the time and try to make it look like we had a bad Thanksgiving. People had a great Thanksgiving. I mean, the guy's just total troll. But he made a video in March Madness where I went 0-2 with my picks in March Madness. But that day we literally went 6-0 in the NBA, plus hit on a 12.5-point underdog. And it's like, okay, so he's putting out in the world that I'm a fraud because I went 0-2 in March Madness when he knows damn well we torched the NBA. So, I mean, who's the fraud? And the sad thing is, people who don't know better, they'll watch his video and they'll think, oh, maybe this guy's lying. Maybe this is all bullshit. It's like, no, you're watching a bullshit con artist who chops up videos like a politician and puts out very misleading information, when in reality, if you have a brain, it's easy to consistently win and hit games like this. Have confidence in a 12.5-point underdog. Portland 37, the pattern that showed me that something was going on in sports, which caused me to look into a lot more. And then sadly, it became the thing the world most cares about because the world can't make good decisions. They've been raised and trained poorly from all facets, from their own family to the school system to the news. Everyone's all about entertainment instead of more powerful knowledge, which they should be about. Things that are actually relevant in the world, more so than men playing games and other men watching those men play games. But that's where humanity is. And again, what we've done with the knowledge is shown how it's all connected, how it's all ritualistic, how understanding the significance of Kobe's death at 41 I mean, it's amazing how many people came into this work through Kobe's death, and then they instantly got on the sports thing, and now they connect everything through Kobe. And again, not everything really is connected to Kobe. It's just because that's what their lens is. But a game like Lakers Philly, that's Kobe all day, every day. When Kobe is from Philly, played for LA, and died at age 41. And here, yesterday's notes. One of the things we highlighted: 76ers coach's next win was 239. The flag is sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philly. They're going on a road trip after this, and they'll probably win some games on the road trip. So you got to think that 239th win makes more sense in Philly. And don't forget how important that number was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Huge. 239 is the 52nd prime. They won Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota, which equals 52. RIP to Denny Green, who died the day before they opened that stadium to the fans. And again, just the way the scales are. As I wrote, if the Lakers lost the next two on the road, they would fall to 3-7 in Detroit. Now, don't assume that they're going to lose in Detroit. I still need to do the full breakdown of that. But both Detroit and Los Angeles do have 37. This year, though, Detroit's a team to stay away from. They're not hitting any of their riddles, and they're on a 14-game losing streak. The word end equals 14. We've seen a million streaks go to 14 in time, so it is possible. But it's something, as long as the Lakers lost, it set up the possibility for them to fall 3-7, and you'll see that so often in this study where even to set up the narrative for the next game where that could be, it's there. So that stood out. Lakers coach has narrative to lose, and that's because in the coach section, it shows Lakers coach can stay on 61 wins, Philadelphia 61, plus the 61 date numerology is the top of the note show. And the Lakers coach can get his 55th all-time loss, where 76ers is 55. You know what else about that? Again, I got to make a point about this because I said there were 232 points scored in this game, right? And again, big time number is 55 with these Satan rituals. Remember, we're talking about Kobe's connection in Philadelphia, where the letter's written to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan. But in Jewish gematria, which Derek renamed Latin, Satan's also 232. And again, Kobe's full name, Kobe Bean Bryant's 81, like Mark of the Beast. He had his career high 81 in his 666th game. So yeah, the only thing that you really had to think twice. Oh, but also just even more. 76ers win next two. They'll get to 13-5. Again, just 135 hits so much with Philly. And Kobe Bean Bryant's 135. So that was there. And 76ers can become 4-1 versus the West. LA 41, Kobe Bryant 41 from Philly. Rinse and repeat. Again, LeBron's in Philly, passing Kobe in points scored, sending him fourth all time in the list when 4 is the number of death. LA with the gematria 4. Kobe's dead the next day. Then LeBron's winning the finals on Father-Daughter Day, 41 weeks after his own birthday, when King also equals 41. Remember the deaths of the UCLA Bruins days after LeBron signed with LA and how it was a King ritual then as well, as we talked about. And don't forget Jim Brown dying, the Browns great, and now the Browns quarterback's the young UCLA star from Los Angeles. Jim Brown died in LA. The day of the playoff game in LA with LeBron. Started out in Cleveland. Just like the Rams started out in Cleveland. Like Odell went from Cleveland to LA on the day, leaving 56 days left in the year before winning Super Bowl 56, scoring the first touchdown of the game, which we thought he would with the huge odds. About 10-1 odds on the Odell first touchdown. But yeah, again, you always got to weigh the scales. The one other thing to think twice about, and it's just a reminder why you never bet the house, and it's why you play with the strategy of bet low to multiply and win big, because in case it is this thing that bites you on this day, 76ers coach could have stayed on 169 all-time losses, which has a square root of 13. And, I mean, a lot weaker narrative, but it was just on a Monday, moon day, and sometimes we do see the moon rituals on 13. But, again, heavier narrative for Philly to upset. So, again, the strategy of when I'm going to play, I'm trying to turn $5 into $40. I'm trying to turn it into $100. I'm going to play when there's patterns there that I like, that I've won on. Like for me, Blazers in 37. Again, nothing's as good now as it used to be. When I first started this, it was like anytime it could come up, it would just hit. Now I'd say, Blazers in 37, it probably hits still in 70% of games when it comes up, a true 37. And that's a winning percentage. And again, that's why if you're going to risk something to multiply, well, here's a game that the narrative is strong. And Blazers and Pacers have this connection to through Jermaine O'Neal and Dale Davis, which was one of the worst trades in NBA history, which I knew as a child. And I just thought, why don't the Blazers pay me $1 million to run the team? Because Mike Dunleavy doesn't know what he's doing, and the GM's clearly a moron. See, I was a kid, like, looking at this. I was questioning this stuff as a kid because Blazers, for people who don't know NBA history, the Blazers drafted a young star out of high school, Jermaine O'Neal, and he only got to play a few minutes a game. That's it. But when he came in, you could see all the potential. He'd just come in, rebound, block shots, make a difference. People couldn't get their shot off. He's forcing the turnover. His long arms tipping the ball. It's a fast break. But then you go to the free throw line and shoot like 2 air balls, and you're like, God, can somebody practice some free throws with this damn kid? He could never make a free throw. But anytime he came in, like a plus-minus thing, that plus-minus wasn't even that big of a thing back then in the NBA, not nearly as much as it is now. Now they really focus on that stat. But he was an obvious major plus guy when he came on the field. He's just making things happen. Or on the court. And it's like, why aren't they playing him more? What, he's too young? I mean, he can get out there and play. Isn't he going to get better with the experience? I mean, he's coming out there. And then we're shipping him off for old man Dale Davis, who's at the tail end of his career. I mean, you couldn't even convince me back then. I know Dale Davis is a veteran, but you couldn't convince me that he was more of a difference maker than Jermaine O'Neal. So you're giving away this brand new top pick Ferrari for a Ferrari from 15 years ago? What? There, Blazers, I'm available. I'll do it for way less than $1 million. I just want to see my team actually win. You know what I mean? But I was looking, and then I was done with sports through the Blazers. That's when I officially knew sports was rigged. Game 7, Western Conference Finals, Blazers Lakers. It's the game. It's the one that created the highlight with the alley-oop. Shaq and Kobe, and it was just obvious the Blazers weren't. They were playing to lose the game. They had a huge lead going into the fourth quarter, and then they just came out and didn't play basketball. No defense, no use of the time. Why aren't you running down the shot clock when you have a huge lead? Why aren't you playing defense and rebounding and eating up the clock? You got a big lead. Just fast break, hoist up. I mean, it was so dumb. And I was like, you can't tell me that this league's not rigged. I mean, Lakers in the damn finals, it seems like every year, you know? And that came actually years after the Blazers and Jordan. I was old enough then to just remember that too. Couldn't breathe on Jordan. It's a foul. Breathing on Jordan again, foul. Jordan could like poke anybody's eyes out. No call. Like, God. And that's what's frustrating, guys, being a kid, seeing through it. And it's like the adults in the room don't see through it. Like, no, it's not rigged. It's definitely rigged. It's definitely rigged, and we figured out a big chunk of how it's rigged and why. And it all makes so much sense because who practices Kabbalah? Oh, that's right, the same people that are always the heads of the NBA and also the heads of the Harlem Globetrotters as well. Go figure, the team that never misses from beyond half court. And, they couldn't possibly be using technology, but the Harlem Globetrotters never miss from beyond half court. But, yeah, here, let's talk more about November 30th and Jordan's team that he just had to sell, the Charlotte Hornets, facing the Brooklyn Nets this week. So there is only one 201 team in the NBA. And if you're new here, 201 is a super, super important number to the Illuminati, which is a real thing, and to the Jesuits. And it was a Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt, who founded the Illuminati. And for the record, Illuminati equals 48 in Gematria. Jordan born on the 48th day of the year. Order of Illuminati 201, like the Jesuit order, like Charlotte Hornets. Look up the news story from July 6th this year, 2023. Jordan with his 44-year-old wife, who's an Italian. It was on July 6th, 7-6. Probably part of the reason it was that is because, of course, Michael Jordan equals 76 like slave. Michael Jordan, 76, just like Barack Obama, both hailing from Chicago. And you can also write July 6, 6-7, where Italy 67. And then there's a not nice history to that number, like blood sacrifice is 67, and so is human sacrifice. The day Kobe died had 67 date numerology as well as 47. And Calabasas, if I'm not mistaken. Also, yeah, he died in, Calabasas with the 67. And anyway. Jordan had to sell the Hornets August 3rd. And we're going to get to all the things that are interesting about that date in this game against the Brooklyn Nets, which is Jordan's hometown. And Again, November 30th, George Herbert Walker Bush, number 41. He died on that day in history. 11 plus 30. November 30th, 11 plus 30, 41. This year it's 41 weeks into Jordan's age on the nose. Brooklyn has the gematria of 41. Nets has the gematria 13. 41's the 13th prime. Again, Kobe Bryant, 41. LA, the 41-13 city. Brooklyn with these connections and numbers. Jordan just lost the team after 13 years. Hornets has the word Nets in it. And I almost wonder if there's like some sick joke, like just the sound of whore, like being a whore for the Nets league. And you could argue that Michael Jordan's that. Imagine if Michael Jordan would come out and speak plainly about how rigged he knew the NBA was the whole time and what he was really doing with, manipulating the hearts and minds of so many people who believe so much in that character, who emulated him, who watched the commercials. I want to be like Mike, who grew up with this illusion that they could be in the NBA and be like Mike if they work hard enough. And let's talk about all the bodies connected to Mike too, including what's his name, Benji, who died about the same time Jordan was going into the NBA. Talked about that earlier this year on the anniversary of his death. But the 201 piece is really interesting because from Kobe's death, January 26, 2020, let's not forget he died on the anniversary of Bear Bryant, and Bryant equals, you see how Bryant is 26 and 37 in reverse, just like Jordan is 26 and 37. Again, Bear Bryant died 37 years to the day of Kobe Bryant on the 26th day of the year. But yeah, just sports greats and rituals and numbers. And understand, 26 is a big number to the game. The word game itself is 26. And the game is like God to most people. And God is 26. And Bryant and Jordan are looked at as gods. And if you've never read my first book, which came out in 2017, Letters and Numbers, at least the first chapter of that book did come out in 2017. I put it out early. But again, I talk about why there's 26 letters in the alphabet. And I talk about a whole lot of things that'll blow your mind, how 26 connects from the Bible to human beings to what's above to people who, as in the sky, stars, the 26,000 year cycle of the zodiac, or the 2600, or hold on, I'm tripping right now. Oh, I better go back and double check. I think each astrological cycle is 2,600 years. And then is it 12 times 2,600 is real close to 20? I got to go double check everything, but there's a lot with 26. I got to go read back my own first chapter because I wrote it so long ago. But again, you study this number 26, you see how it connects with the language, to these Kabbalistic beliefs, to the human being, to man being made in the 26th verse, to stars, to people we call stars, like the brightest human beings. And then how you see these numbers around people like Jordan and Bryant, who are the biggest stars. And then, 3 years after that book's out, Kobe's dead on the 26th day of the year on the anniversary of Bear Bryant. You know what I mean? But okay, we covered the 11341 piece. Again, why it mattered that Brooklyn was playing Chicago on November 3rd, and then why on November 30th, 11/30/113, Jordan's hometown Brooklyn's playing his Hornets. And again, the 113 and 41 and where it connects Kobe and Michael. And this year, again, Michael's 60 right now. Kobe scored 60 in his last game playing Utah, who drafted Moses Malone. Moses Malone died at age 60, right after Daryl Dawkins, whose name in gematria equals 60. High school equals 60. All of these guys connected by being drafted out of high school. All connected through basketball in Philly. And remember, Jordan's father was found dead on the side of Interstate 74. Kobe died in the 74th NBA season. Moses Malone was drafted in 74. They did parallels with Moses Malone and Exodus. Moses from the Bible. Exodus equals 74. They did parallels with Kobe Bryant in the after death shoe, and then him dying the year the Lakers signed AD in the City of Angels. And then the Kobe cartoon and the Kobe Nike short film that ends with the exploding helicopter. Again, the Comedy Central cartoon that came out days after the Kobe Bryant after death shoe. Came out on the 16th day of the 11th month when the King James Bible came out in 1611. The Bible, Jesus after death, the calendar, the Catholic Church, all these rituals. LeBron, who went to a Catholic high school. I mean, just look at all the pieces of the puzzle and put them together. We're on the Catholic Church's calendar. speaking a language that goes back to a Catholic monk, Burford the Ramsey Abbey. You start looking at these basketball players and coaches, it's amazing how many of them are Catholic or Jesuit high school or university educated. It's incredible. And it all just starts to fall into place. And it's like, oh, yeah, all roads lead to Rome. I heard that one before. Weren't the Lakers just playing at the Coliseum not that long ago? But yeah, again, in Gematria, just Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, 113. The National Basketball Association, 113. We call it the 113 League. Coronavirus pandemic, 113. Declared the same day the NBA lockdown on the 11th day of the third month. Again, right after Kobe's death. For the record, 113 is the 30th prime number, like there's 30 teams in the NBA. And, oh yeah, with regards to 201 and us being in the 201st week since Kobe's death, and somebody's going to look this up and go, I looked it up. It wasn't the 201st week. And that's because they won't know how to tell time. But here, just so you can see exactly what we're looking at. Like LeBron's ritual last night on November 27th. We're in this 201st week right now. You see how it's 200 weeks in one day? Again, the first week of something begins with day one. So then you do the first week, and then you begin the second week, and then you begin the third week, so on. So we've passed 200 weeks. We're in the 201st week when LeBron has this ritual in Philly, Kobe's hometown. And then, of course, we got the game on November 30th, which is also in the 201st week. And then it's 3 days later. So it's December 3rd will be 201 weeks total after Kobe died, which is interesting. Actually, that's really interesting for multiple reasons. You see how Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. Again, Kobe's death has a lot to do with 201. But you see how Jorge Mario Bergoglio's 201 forwards, 312 in reverse? December 3rd can be written 3/12. And the apartment that he lives in, he's the first Jesuit pope and the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. But it has a name. It's called the Domus Sanctae Martae. And it's also 201 and 312. So that is interesting that it's exactly 201 weeks after Kobe's death on the third day of the 12th month, in light of how connected Kobe's death was to the Pope. But, and if you look at that building, the Pope that building was originally built for, he died on the 201st day of the year, Pope Leo. And again, 201's deep with the Jesuits. Huge number with their order and their rituals. But don't forget that Kobe died 201 days before Magic Johnson's birthday of the Lakers, where the Lakers would win the finals in Orlando. R.I.P. Lorenzen Wright, who died in a mystery 201 days from LeBron's birthday. Well, now they say they found the killer all these years later. But I should go back and revisit all that too. Anyhow, 201st week right now, so you got to be paying attention. Remember, Order of Illuminati is 201, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. The Jesuit Order 201, he died in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. Kobe's production company, if you want to look it up, is Granity Studios, which is 201. It's also 87, like the Pope's going to turn 87 on December 17th. And the Jesuit suppression in history had a lot to do with 201, and it ended on the date August 7th. And that number also has a lot to do with LeBron. James is 87. The Catholic Church is 87. Number of the Beast is 87. Kobe, with his career high in the 666th game. And Mark of the Beast, the other pairing of that, the thing you receive, which is the number of the Beast, is 81. And 54, just like Kobe being Bryant, who died the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. Against the Chiefs, who were in the first Super Bowl in the 47th season of the NFL. But remember, the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius Loyola, he's Mr. 201. A lot of tributes in history to him through 201. And again, the list goes on through the first Jesuit Pope, who's Pope Francis, Jorge Mario Bergoglio. So it matters that Jordan was spotted in Italy July 6th, 201 days after the Pope's birthday, knows Catholic Pope's 201. And that was just shortly before it announced that he had to sell the Charlotte Hornets, the only 201 team in the whole league. Just to be clear, Indianapolis is the only city with a 201 connection, and they do have an NBA team. So you could argue that there's two teams that have a 201 connection, but just the only team with a full name that's 201 is Charlotte Hornets. Just like the Utah Jazz are the only team with a full name that's 113, but Dallas is the other 113 connected team because Dallas is the 113 city. And if you go back to the day the NBA was locked down for the pandemic, they let Dallas finish their game that day, and they scored 113 points on 11/3 shortly after Kobe's death and his burial in Corona Del Mar, before the coronavirus pandemic. So, and remember what the simulation was for the coronavirus pandemic, Event 201. And March 11th can be written 11/3 like we've been talking about. It can also be written 3/11. The number 201 is the number 311 in base 8 counting, which is mostly used by computer programmers, but there's a literal mathematical connection with 201 and 311. Just like how Georgetown, the nation's first Jesuit university, is 129, and 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. And Georgetown's also 57, like George itself, just like Scottish Rite, and the Jesuits created the Scottish Rite. And Georgetown, the Jesuit university, the first Jesuit university in the U.S., established the same year that George Washington took office at age 57 as the Mason in the Masonic city. But yeah, just to revisit things that have happened this month while we've been really watching out for what's up with the November 3rd game that's an obvious Jordan tribute, and the November 30th game that's an obvious Jordan tribute. Again, Bobby Knight died right before that November 3rd game at age 83. Deadly Number, the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. The word murder is 83. We talk about it all the time. 83 is the 23rd prime. We're in 2023. We're talking about Michael Jordan, number 23. We're talking about maybe the end, but hopefully not. MJ is 23. Break it down the small way. MJ's 5. Bobby Knight, 5th all-time in coaching wins in NCAA, dead 5 days before the season began on November 6th. MJ, 13 years with Charlotte. Kobe, who emulated MJ, who was the 13th pick by Charlotte in North Carolina, like where Jordan played for. And for the record, 31 is the 11th prime number. There's several things I could say about that, but a big one is black. Another number they use in the race rituals. Let me double check something. Yeah, slave is also 31. 14th Amendment has a lot to do with slavery. Again, slave, Ephesians 6, 5-9, Acts 7, 6, where all this stuff comes from. So, and don't forget, Nike's connected to all these deaths too, and Nike put out that film this year about how Jordan made the brand. But yeah, coming back to the Bobby Knight death at 83 in the obvious numerical ritual, they got to bring up his 76th title. He died in his 84th year of life. He just had the 84th March Madness this year. They did the huge ritual in the opening round for Connecticut in 84 as their coach became 8-4 in the tournament, winning it all. And they took down the Nets for Connecticut after the 84th points were scored. He played in the other 201 town. Let's not forget that. Indianapolis, Indiana. So Bobby Knight's got the 201 thing as well. This news came on the day leaving 60 days left in the year, while Jordan's 60. Again, the last coach to beat Jordan in college, Bobby Knight. And dying at 83. Run the alphabetic order in reverse. Murders 83 like Enlil, connected to Babylon, parallels to the devil. Devil's also 83, like flood, like earth, like who do you sell your soul to? Again, Bob Dylan talked all about it with Ed Bradley. You want to make it in celebrity in this world, you better sell that soul. There's a lot of people competing. Sorry, Benji. Jordan sold it faster. So now Benji's dead. That's how it works in this league. It's so obvious in this world where these psychopaths rule, the cabal. People so afraid to confront this. He did also die about 47 years after the Hoosiers film came out. And Indiana's got that 47 in its gematria too. Very special number. Titans became 4-7 over the weekend, beating the Panthers. And by the way, just Kobe's first ever game. If you didn't know this, he won 91-85. Remember, 91's the 13th triangular number, 13th pick, LA 13. The Lakers allowed 85 points against the Timberwolves. They used to be the Minnesota Lakers. The Minnesota Lakers became the Los Angeles Lakers. That's why the Lakers team name doesn't really make any sense in LA. Minnesota's the land of 10,000 lakes. LA's not known for its lakes. But 85 is important. Again, you had the first March Madness in 85. Basketball is 85. The first March Madness was the Catholic school Villanova beating the Jesuit school Georgetown. And remember, Jesuit equals 84 and 78. John Thompson, the first black coach to win the championship, did it in 84 with Jesuit Georgetown and then died in a huge ritual at age 78 unexpectedly. But yeah, basketball is 85. Jordan's first season, 84-85 season. You see how Boston is 85 and 22, just like basketball. You think about Boston, LA, and basketball, and Boston was just in their 22nd finals in 2022, and they fell to 7-5. Or excuse me, the Warriors improved to 7-5 and gave Boston their 75th all-time home loss in the playoffs, winning the championship. And remember, Boston fell to 7-5 on Pope Francis's birthday in that year before the Warriors went on to beat him in the finals by the numbers. But Catholic Church 75, again, Roman Catholic 75. Big time number 75. It's why everything's going down in Israel right now while the nation's 75. And it was all foretold in the New York Times, October 6, 1940, a date with 75 numerology. The headline in the New York Times on October 6, 1940, New World Order 75 pledged to Jews. Like Order 75, and you think about who runs the NBA and syncs up all these sports with all the news. But yeah, here, just so you can see with your own eyes too, from Jordan's birthday to this date, November 30th, where he's playing Hornets, who he had to sell, exactly 41 weeks in. Brooklyn 41, Kobe, him bawling his eyes out after Kobe's death, who again is also connected through the Carolinas. And the same numbers, 41 the 13th prime. One more time, Jordan ran the Hornets for 13 years. Kobe the 13th pick. We're talking about 41 and 13 in the rituals they keep doing in Israel right now. David Silver, who died right before Kobe, the old NBA commissioner who was commissioner starting the year that Jordan came in the league. Remember, David Silver said the NBA is not about basketball. He said it's about making stars. And the word star itself is also 13. See how it's 58 as well? Kobe Bryant's also got that 58, like Los Angeles Lakers. And even the plural stars is 58, just like star itself is 58. Again, Gregorian is 58, and calendar's 58. We're on a calendar named after the Pope. Kobe with the 58 connection goes with Pope Francis with the 58 connection. You know, his death is synced with the Pope. Pope Francis also 59, like Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. Like how the 59th presidential election, Joe Biden became number 46, exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, when Catholics 46, and John F. Kennedy 59 was killed at age 46. Again, history, rigged sports, rigged politics, same Illuminati cabal doing it all. USA equals 41. The USA was formed in the time of the Jesuit suppression, which lasted 41 years. You know what the Jesuits created in the time of their suppression? They created the Illuminati with 13 families. Don't forget, from the founding of the Illuminati, May 1st, 1776, to the naming of the United States of America, September 9th, 1776, is a span of 132 days. Like United States of America, like Roman Catholic, like Catholic Church, like Antonin Scalia, the first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice whose body laid in repose on 13/2 after his suspicious death on the 44th day of the year. He was down on the ranch hunting with his secret society Catholic pals. If you want to go back and look in the story, it's not a conspiracy theory. You'll see the mainstream headlines. All the mainstream news published that he was out hunting with his secret society Catholic pals when he was found dead on the ranch on the 44th day of the year. Fateful number. And that's why we're saying, you know, LeBron losing in Philly, where Jordan played his last game, while they're doing these rituals, while people are dying, from Bobby Knight to Walter Davis, Jordan's favorite player. I forgot to cover the Walter Davis. We got to go back and look at the Walter Davis too. But yeah, here's the one other thing, just in light of how connected the Pope is to all this stuff, how we're definitively proving. I mean, it was one and done with predicting the 2022 NBA Finals before the playoffs again. Like some people will say, well, Zach has to hedge. Yeah, I do hedge certain championship bets, but we're still on the strong narrative, and hedging your bets isn't a bad idea. We didn't have to hedge our bets in 2022 we saw before the playoffs began with the ritual with the Pope on the Pope's birthday with the 7-5 and the 75 all over the Warriors court's birthday and San Francisco winning the 75th NFL season. And we knew why that number mattered to that city. We said Boston will lose to the Warriors and the Warriors will become 7-5 in finals. And, I know what it was. Boston, look at this, you guys. Boston fell to, this was the other piece of it with the Pope. Boston, if you go back and look, when they lost in their 22nd championship in 2022 to Warriors, who won the first championship in 47 back when they were in Philly. But Boston became 17-5 in the NBA Finals. 17-5. Pope Francis won 75. Again, basketball, 22. Boston, 22. Jesuits, 22. And here, just for people who don't remember these things like it was yesterday, because they're not working with the knowledge and making the predictions and having the memorable, rewardable outcome for doing the research, let me just take you back to, hold up. It's going to be 2021. December 17th is the Pope's birthday. So let's go back to those games. You had the Warriors beat the Celtics to become 10-3 away. Let's not forget they won that closeout game with 103 points. Jesuits, 103 as well, just to be clear. But they won the finals with 103 points in the game. And it was another Ultimate Warrior joke again. Isn't Ultimate Warrior also 103? Yeah, it is. And they've done that one in the past, the dead wrestler. When LeBron won on the real King James' birthday over the Warriors, he wore the Ultimate Warrior shirt afterwards, paying tribute to the satanic sacrifices, which Obama and LeBron James had a nice laugh about together about selling their souls. Again, watch the show The Barbershop, the episode with LeBron and Obama, and watch how hard they laugh about selling their souls. I mean, you can't say that they didn't put out the truth in front of the masses. They put stuff like that in the mainstream, them laughing their asses off about selling their souls. No way, LeBron's a really nice guy. Obama was the president. He couldn't be that bad. It's like, do you know who runs this nation? They put out songs about how murder's the sport of the elected. I mean, they've been telling you the whole story the whole time. But yeah, look at it. Celtics fell to 7-5, just like how they picked up their 75th home loss in the playoffs the day they lost to the Warriors in the 75th anniversary season with 75s all over the court. When 75 is this huge number of the Catholic Church. San Francisco is named after St. Francis of Assisi, very Catholic city. You know, you think they call it the 49ers for the gold rush that started in 1849, but I bet you this is also part of the equation. Catholicism 49. Got to believe that's part of the equation. So, yeah, again, and by the way, the Warriors won with a 111 on that day. Jorge Mario Bergoglio. We talked about the 2-0-1. We talked about the 3-1-2. We didn't talk about the 111, but it's there. The 2-0-1 and 105. That also goes with Order of Illuminati. 201, 105. The Jesuits, the Illuminati, the Church, the Pope. Oh, yeah, so I was trying to get to the Pope point. And here, from the day that Jordan had to sell his team, the 201 team, shortly after he was in Italy, 201 days after the Pope's birthday, from that day to November 30th, where now you have his Brooklyn hosting Charlotte, 119 days. And stop me when you've seen it before. Francis, 119. Vatican, 119. Remember when Al-Aqsa Mosque and Notre Dame in France burned on the same day, and both structures are connected to the history of the Knights Templar who served the Pope? I mean, what a coincidence. That was 119 days from the Pope's birthday when that happened. And fire rituals also 119 and 56 like Pope, and fire ritual again 119 and 70 like Francis is 70 and 119, and so is Vatican. And 70 is a big number with what's going on in Israel right now too. The last temple destroyed in the year 70, and they want to bring about the third temple. Here was Jordan's July 6th sighting in Italy with his 44-year-old Italian wife, Yvette Prieto. Again, 44. LeBron just lost by 44 where Jordan played his last game. And don't forget how Jordan's last game is synced with Kobe's last game. Again, these things cannot be forgotten. Another cipher is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. So notice, Kobe Bryant, 113, 678. Michael Jordan, 113, 678. And all you're doing to get the 678 is you're just multiplying each letter times 6. A becomes 6, B becomes 12, C becomes 18, D 24, E 30. From Jordan's last game to Kobe's last game is exactly 678 weeks. And of course, the day that Kobe played his last game, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, both sons of former NBA players, set an NBA record with two players on a team combining for 678 combined three-pointers in the season. That same number as they eclipsed Michael Jordan's win record, winning their 73rd game of the year when Curry's born on the 73rd day of the year, Pi Day. And in the season that Jordan won 72 games, special number 72, 72 names of God in Kabbalah, 72 demons in the Goetia, Jesuit order 72. The sun, the nearest star, moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. But again, the Warriors eclipsed Jordan's 72 mark with 73. And if you go back to Jordan's 72-game win season, go look at his 73rd game of the year. You'll never guess who he faced. He faced Steph Curry's father, Del Curry. Again, Del Curry, kind of played in Toronto, and then Steph Curry, his son, met his wife in Toronto, and then it was the 73rd NBA season where Curry lost to Toronto. 73rd season and the 72nd anniversary season, and check this out. This is why this stuff matters. Toronto. Pay attention to Toronto's upcoming games in the 117, but Toronto 72 won the 72nd anniversary season, which was the 73rd total season. Curry, again, born on the 73rd day of the year, clips the 73-72. His dad with the connection to both numbers. A script planned out. Hollywood. David. Oh, I was calling him David Silver, wasn't I? David Stern, my bad. David Stern, 1984. Adam Silver is the new commissioner. But again, I mean, Hollywood, and we're talking about the Lakers that are right there in Hollywood. The magical world of Disney right down there, Magic Johnson. And let's not forget what happened to Magic Johnson's father in a 201 ritual recently, R.I.P. What is it? Irvin Johnson Sr.? I forget the rest of it, but I think even his name, Irvin Johnson Sr. No, I got to go back and double check what it is. That part's 213, like the LA area code. Here, let me pull up this Walter Davis part. Again, this man died November 2nd, 35 days after Durant's birthday, number 35. Walter Davis played for the Suns. Died on a 35 Thursday. But, again, Walter Davis, who Jordan emulated. Kevin Durant, 35 years old, who lost his high school coach at age 35. Walter Davis, dead on Durant's 35th day of being 35 years old. Suns is 35, another big special number. Thursday, Catholic, Holy See, Jesuitism, Europe. Christmas Day, 1225. Square root of 1225 is 35. The Roman spelling for Jesus, Jesus, is 35. On and on and on. Big time number. The surname Davis is 35. This is Walter Davis, known as the Greyhound. Notice he died 54 days after his birthday. Greyhound's 54, like Jesuit order, like Kobe being Bryant, dead the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. You could also say he died on his 55th day of his age. We talked about that number connects to Satan. But the surname Davis also has the 55 as well as the 35. So does Satan. Sacrifices to who? And it's sad if that's what they make these people do and that's how they justify this stuff. Again, David Bowie's song, Rock and Roll Suicide, about all these young stars making big decisions at too young of an age. It's the same for these athletes too. If you were like a 19, 20, early 20s, maybe not your most spiritual period of your life, you're getting sucked into the culture, the women, the money, the materialism, and some rich guys are like, here, dude, I'm going to give it all to you, and all you got to do is say, I sell my soul to Satan. Just say it out loud for me. It could be something that seemingly is as silly as that, and they don't realize how serious this is. But whether it's more serious than that or not, on one level, this is going on. The Bob Dylans of the world have talked about it. Again, we've watched LeBron James and Obama laugh about it. One way or another, somehow this is going down. And that's why you see these rituals unfold perfectly. They call him the Candy Man, which has the Gematria 42. Like Arizona, the last state to recognize MLK Day. In the new Candyman movie, the remake of it, they got to put the 42 on the wall. They got to show it to you multiple times. Oh, yeah, Walter Davis was also born in 54 and might have died 54 days after his birthday. And again, out of North Carolina, part of the notes for yesterday why we like Denver to upset the Clippers was so that they would go 4-6 into Phoenix. Phoenix loves the number 46. Clippers also has the gematria of 46. Nuggets, nice upset last night. And yeah, there's even more to this. But yeah, Walter Davis caused death. Michael Jordan's idol dies at 69 years old. 69, special number. Talked more about that one earlier. During his rookie year, a 21-year-old Michael Jordan was asked who the best player he ever saw was and shocked media by naming Walter Davis. Many believe Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would have been his answer. And again, I saw Itachi leave a comment that he doesn't think Walter Davis is that big a star because he's never heard of him. Itachi's not that old. And Walter Davis is known for having one of the best shots ever. So he didn't get the celebrity status like these other guys, but you watch him play. Again, had they done the marketing around him as much, he was definitely a known name for people who watched the NBA back then. He's one of the best players to watch. Michael Jordan didn't say he was his favorite player by accident. Shout out to my man, Darrell. Darrell's the only truth. He insisted that he come visit me when I lived in Yakima. I was like, all right, man, you want to come out here that much? Sure. Darrell's the only truth seeker who ever kicked it at my house for a few days and spent the night. But the funny thing is, man, the first thing he wanted to come over is show me why Walter Davis and Scottie Pippen were the greatest sports stars of all time. He was on YouTube showing me the Walter Davis and Scottie Pippen. And I always thought Pippen was better than Jordan, too, when I was growing up. I think if the NBA wasn't totally rigged and scripted, Scottie Pippen would have been the real legend. That's why I understand that Pippen's starting to hate. I get it, man. It's like, yeah, he's sick. Remember that? Why didn't the whole world wake up when Scottie Pippen's son died at age 33 on the first day of Taurus? You know? Oh, but he's using 4 ciphers. Like, anyone who would fall back on that argument just got to be just dumb as rocks. Scottie Pippen, who wore the number 33, lost his son on the first day of Taurus at age 33. That was a headline? That was a headline. The Taurus is the bull. That's why it matters that he died on the first day of Taurus. And again, I mean, that's what I mean with the rock and roll suicide song. Did these guys realize when they did what they did at a young age before they had these children, way before Scottie Pippen has a 33-year-old son? Does he realize this is what's going to happen later in his life? Again, watch that show, The Fall of the House of Usher, that just came out right after Usher announced he's going to be the halftime performer. About these guys selling their soul on, New Year's for 1980. Satan 80, like Baphomet's 80, like Bavarian Illuminati's 80. What are the odds? Mahomes has had so many Satan rituals. And he picked up his 80th career win this year on the day, leaving 80 days left in the year. And there's been a lot of weird deaths connected to him. Len Dawson is now his wife's father. The day he passed Len Dawson as the all-time Chiefs leader, his fiance at the time, her dad just dropped dead that day, the day of the game. I mean, Len Dawson's dead 172 days before they won the Super Bowl last year on Kobe Bryant Day, before they beat Philly, Kobe's hometown. Go back and look. Kobe Bryant Day, August 24th, 2022. Len Dawson's dead. Dead 24 days before Mahomes' birthday. Mahomes won his first Super Bowl the weekend after Kobe's death at age 24. Kobe finished his career playing 24. 24-hour day dictated by the sun. Kobe dead on a Sunday. The Catholic Church, Italy. How about this pose they put out for Jordan in Italy? I mean, what's this anyway? What does that pose communicate? It's like I'm up to something. Look at me dressing all white as one of the most famous black men of all time. You don't know how much this watch costs. So, look at it, with the 44-year-old wife born on March 26th, mad suspect day. I can tell you another Italian woman born on that day, Nancy Pelosi. There's a reason why. I can tell you why Eazy-E died on that day, 201 days after his birthday. I can tell you all about it. I can tell you why Kobe, his last birthday was 201 days before they declared the pandemic, and why they had to bury him in Corona Del Mar, and where the Black Mamba fit in. Why Eazy-E's death is synced up with Lethal Injection, and NWA came out the same year as They Live, which came out 201 days after Roddy Piper's birthday, and the movie set in LA where NWA was, and it begins with a mural of a vaccine, and then Ice Cube's putting out Lethal Injection, and then there's 201 men in the Tuskegee group experiment in history. You know what I mean? 201 from Tuskegee to everything. Because the same gang's been doing all this, putting in all their entertainment from NWA to They Live. They've just been laying it all out. And don't forget, They Live, they say that this Illuminati cabal is going to have full control of the world by 2025. That movie came out in 88. 37 years before 2025, where Los Angeles is 37. Set in LA, where Bryant's 37, dead on the 37th anniversary of Bear Bryant. Again. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention about Exodus. Exodus 74, Exodus 4-1. Again, Moses Malone drafted in 74. Moses Malone equals 41 like Kobe Bryant. In Exodus 4-1, the story begins of the staff being turned into the snake involving Moses, Kobe the snake, the serpent, Satan, his 666 game, his 666 workout. If you didn't know that Kobe had a 666 workout, look it up. He marketed it. It's all there, man. All the riddles are there. Jesus spoke in riddles, parables. This is the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits who founded the Illuminati, who gave us the calendar, the religion, all the understanding, the symbolism, who keep doing it to us. Like, see, we gave it all to you, but you didn't take to it seriously enough. So you don't see the game that we're playing with your life. So you're allowing the game to be played with your life. You're worshiping the game instead of seeing the game that's played with your life. You're mad at the person who's distracting you from the game because you don't want to see the other game that you're a part of. While your body's full of chemical poisons and you're working your ass off and paying so much in taxes and not even thinking about it because it's normal. How did it get to be normal? But yeah, they saw him on July 6th. And the thing is, I don't even have to measure from the Pope's birthday to July 6th. I already know it's 201 days because every year I'm talking about some big suspicious ritual synced up with the Pope. The other year, it was the weirdest COVID death. In 2020, it was the weirdest COVID death. It was a dancer who supposedly lost his legs and then died. He lost his legs from COVID, a dancer. I was like, nah, there's something up with this, man. Now they're trying to really scare the shit out of people 201 days after the Pope's birthday. Now it's MJ, and then he's losing his 201 team less than a month later. Here, for people who don't know, for people who need to see it with their own eyes. Pope Francis' date of birth. He's born on Saturnalia, December 17th. And Saturn has a whole bunch of 201 connections. That's why there's always ritualistic deaths connected to the Pope in these hold on. From the Pope's last birthday, 2022, to July 6, 2023, there it is. 201 days. Okay? We went over all the 201s. So just so you can see that headline this summer about Jordan and the wife. And remember, it's all biblical. It's just like Moses sees the promised land from Jordan in the Bible. The Holy Bible 201. Again, the Jesuit order. Pope Francis the First and Sweet 201. Blah, blah, blah. His name 201. All this stuff. Let me make sure I got all the Walter Davis stuff in too. And when I say all that I'm aware of, I mean, you could always research it further. There's probably more to it. Yeah, Walter Davis dead 46 years after being drafted, playing for Phoenix. Genesis 46, the sacrifice. Joe Biden's son, dead at age 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. Inauguration day is the 201st day of the U.S.'s age each year on the date written 20/1. I mean, that kind of stuff should be undeniable in a mind that works. Why is Inauguration Day in the dead of winter when it's cold as hell outside? And why is it like in the middle of the month? January 20th, 20/1. Oh, you started realizing, oh shit, 201. Oh, wait, the Jesuits have been in D.C. for longer than the feds? Oh, wait, it starts to all make sense. On the government website, it says the day is called Inauguration of the President. Look it up, you guys, on the U.S. government website. Tell me I'm tripping. Inauguration of the President of the United States. That's what it says the day's called. 201. Mike Troll, they'll just never look at that. They'll be like, I doubt that July 4th is the 201st day of the nation's age. Well, here, if you would have just typed in the duration and searched, you would have been like, oh, shit, it is. July 4th, 7/4. 7/4/201. Hey, that's another pairing too. And it's because it all goes back to the church. It's more to explain. But it's like the event 201 simulation, October 18th, the day that leaves 74 days left in the year. Also, the date 10:18 is like Luke 10:18, where Lucifer comes to earth in Masonic Bibles. Don't forget, Lucifer's got the 74, Satan in other Bibles, but Lucifer's 74, like Masonic in the King James Bible, it's Lucifer. Occult, getting 74th season, right? Jordan's father on the side of I-74, Kobe in the 74 season, Moses Malone drafted in 74, the Exodus parallel. So, it'd be nice to think that these videos were seen by so many people that the Illuminati would just have to stop doing what they've been getting away with. Like, we got to stop this, man. They're going to figure us out. We're lucky they haven't figured us out yet. But yeah, the advantage of the knowledge, you guys. Big upsets, smart plays, knowledge to see through the rigging, to take advantage of it. Doesn't mean you can win every game. Here, let's go through all of yesterday's notes from top to bottom and see why some games are better to play than others. You're looking for value, you're looking for strong narratives, you're looking for lopsided scales, and sometimes you'll still lose even when you think you got the $1 million ritual. That's why you play smart. You don't you don't ever bet more than you can afford to lose. But if you just bet small and play to multiply, and say you lose, it's like, okay, I lost this week. You know what? Sometimes when I go to the grocery store, I like to get this treat for myself, or I'll go out and get this meal. You know what? I'm just not going to do that this week. I'm going to eat at home. I'll get all the money back that I lost on my $5 parlays trying to win 100. But it'd be a rare week where you didn't have at least one big day and multiply nicely using this knowledge. And we've been having a lot of nice days already early in this NBA season, just like we've done for a lot of years. So we always look at the numbers of the day, and you see how, like, sometimes it'll burn you. Minnesota yesterday in Monday Night Football burned us. They could have got their 67th win as a franchise against the Bears on the 331st day of the year, the 67th prime. Feels like things like that used to not miss. But more and more, as more people learn about the knowledge, as time goes on, these things are just not as consistent, which I always teach people about. That's why play small, win big. Play small, lose small. Anyhow, we did get burned in Monday Night Football. We did get the Hawkins thing right in tribute to John Madden. It was 33 weeks after John Madden's birthday yesterday. MNF's 33. There's always a 33 ritual. It went to halftime at 3-3. Madden would have been 87 years old. Hawkinson, number 87, with the big touchdown. And that put Dobbs, number 15, on MNF 15 as well, with his 15th career touchdown. And Dobbs also equals 15. And we thought... I said he should be good for at least one touchdown. We thought he might throw 4 because there was an article about him being an astronaut. And again, 4 is huge with space. It's like why Cancer, ruled by the moon, is the 4th astrological sign, and the moon landing's in the time of Cancer, and everyone instantly associates astronauts with that. And of course, the moon landing, Neil Alden Armstrong, 201, began July 20th, the 201st day of the year. Yesterday was 201 days from Dobbs' upcoming birthday. Instead of him throwing 4 touchdowns yesterday, which we thought was also a possibility, he threw 4 interceptions. That's the way they paid tribute to the 4. But Minnesota, we weren't dumbfounded by Chicago winning. We knew that they had the Templar ritual, and the Templars were a big theme on Sunday. The question was, would it matter as much on Monday? On Sunday, it mattered because it was 1126, just like how the Templars were funded in the year 1126 by the French king. Knights Templars 65. Home teams went 6-5. There were a lot of 65 rituals in the league. Anyway, there were 5 games in the NBA yesterday, and for each game, I break it down and I see what I see. And in the first game, you got 4 things on Detroit's side, 3 pretty good things also on the Wizards' side. And the Pistons had a chance to lose their 14th straight. So this is what's also got more difficult for me. 3 years ago, this would have been the only thing I would have wrote down for the game. Maybe 4 years ago now, because around that time period when this pattern became less consistent. This used to be an over 90% pattern. If a streak went to 13 games, it hit in the 14th game. You see how the word end is 14? The word end is 14. So often when a streak would go to 13, boom, 14. It was like the rarest thing ever when it didn't hit, so it was just the thing to always ride. And you know what? And I know in recent times it's been pretty damn consistent too, and I'm like, I should have just played it. But in the last few years, there's been a lot of 14s where we were expecting to hit it, and it missed, and it stopped on the 13th, and realized when you run it in reverse, end is also 13. But this cipher is way more pure. So, years ago when that was the pattern, that's definitely what I would have rode for this game. So, as I wrote, Pistons can lose 14th straight game. Historically, mini streaks have gone to 14. So, as a logical person, like if you have a brain, you look at this and you're like, well, there's 4 things on that side and 3 on this one. And you got that 14 that used to just be the game changer. Not the best game to play. Not the best game to play. Risky game. See, a moron might come here and they might just want to bet every game every night. That's not a smart thing to do. I'm laying out the information. And when you watch live streams, I say, look for the games that are most lopsided, the most strong patterns that historically we've won on a lot. In this game, you'd have to argue the pattern you've won on the most out of all the information up there is the 14th straight game streak, even though it's not as good as it used to be. So anyway, but not the best game of the night. Now, Blazers-Pacers, huge underdog, so that might intimidate you like, oh my God, can a 12.5 point... These underdogs win plenty in the NBA. Last year at the beginning of the season, Pacers had a 12.5 point upset for us. But reliable patterns. Portland in 37. Again, the pattern that showed me that sports are rigged that I was the most aware of because I'm from Portland and that was showing up the most in my feed being from the area when I learned the knowledge. Indiana, 34. Again, strong patterns, big underdog. If you wanted to play conservatively, you don't get the big multiplier payout, but you have a high percentage, even higher percentage to win. You could always take the Blazers with the points in a game like this. Blazers had a great narrative the day prior to potentially upset the Bucks, but it looked like the smart narrative was to take them with the points. At one point in the game, they were up 26 points on the 26th, but they blew the lead in the scripted NBA that is, because that's the only way to blow a 26-point lead as a pro basketball player, is for it to be scripted. And the NBA is so obvious. And that's the thing you learn in Gematria. You see when these teams get hung up on points, you can laugh because you're like, I know why they're stuck on that point. That's the Indiana Pacers number. It's just, but anyway. Look at the way the scales are weighted too. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 strong things for the Blazers. You have one strong thing for the Pacers and one thing that's flimsy. You have a much stronger narrative for the underdog team here with a huge value that pays 4-1. So again, you're looking for their parlay multiplier. You're risking 5, being patient. This isn't a bad game. This is a long, reliable pattern. Using your brain, weighing the scale, saying, okay, there's a risk reward here. For the risk, this is what I'm trying to do with the 5. I'm trying to multiply. This game alone multiplies. You don't even have to do a parlay. Next game, Lakers 76ers. You look down, okay, the scales are down here at the bottom. There's all this on the Philly side. There's this thing to consider on the LA side. Stronger narrative for the Philly side. Philly blew out the Lakers. The ritual we talked about at the beginning. Pelicans, Jazz. Interesting game, right? Because New Orleans is where the Jazz are originally from. Of course, Mormons don't make jazz music in Salt Lake City, but they do make it in New Orleans. Another team name, that needs to be given back. But here you have New Orleans versus the Jazz. And, there's things that we know about the Pelicans that when they're at home, they have some numbers that are magical, and they've played very nicely this year. This game, though, you look at this game, it's like, okay, I've won a lot with the Pelicans this year. I'm not sure I want to play this game because you look at the scales. You got very decent narratives on both sides. So, again, the moron who likes to troll me, like all he'll do is he'd make a video just showing the bad parts. He'd be like, oh, that's the crap you would have got from the fraud Zach today. And it's like, wait a minute. He totally left out that there was a strong narrative for Philly, for Portland to upset. And then he also left out that, the Clippers, and again, you look at this Clippers-Nuggets game, also not the easiest call of the night, but you had more weight and more things going for a Nuggets upset, including going into 4-6 to Phoenix, which that pattern shows up a lot, just like RIP Walter Davis did 46 years after getting drafted by Phoenix. So, again, everything that we do is super consistent. And just because you know the code doesn't mean you can get every game. That's like an expectation from somebody who's a moron. And again, I just want to let you guys know, everybody who denies the work that I'm teaching is a moron. Clearly, I don't care if they're a doctor and have some good job or there's something else and they're making money. They're still morons. If you're denying what we're showing year in and year out and predicting and accurately forecasting and taking advantage of, it's because you're a moron. You're trying to look for some just like all my trolls do. They try to look for reasons to denounce what we're doing. It's like, okay, a smarter person, here's what a smarter person would have done. They would have been like, yeah, I like that. I like that 76ers win narrative. That makes a lot of sense. Man, yeah, Portland 37. We know how that one goes. That's where the value is tonight. And, These other games you could think about, it could just be those two. Or you might be like, you know what? Hey, this five's going to be $80 if I throw the Nuggets on here and they also win. I can risk 5 to win 80 tonight. And you did that. Guess what? You won 80. Maybe you tried the same thing with about the same strategy the next night. It missed. But you know what? You just won 80 the night before. You paid for your next $16 $5 parlays. With this knowledge, you're not going to miss 16 straight times. You might have a bad week. You might miss every day in the week. But then the next week, you might hit 4. Again, you just stay consistent and modest with the knowledge. You won't stress yourself out. You won't turn your hair gray. You won't speed up your heart. You won't age yourself. But you'll have some fun with it. And again, you get good with the knowledge. There's guys in this league doing very impressive things. This year I taught to the community a focus on point differential and how we can accurately forecast scores. And it's also not a perfect science, but there's a gentleman in the community who's really focused on that now that he's aware of that, looking at the point differential and how you can project the games. In the last 2 weeks, he's hit 2 scores in the week dead on and turned a $5 bill into hundreds of dollars. He got the Black Friday score dead on. We knew Black Friday and 47 was strong. Like I said, it shows up every year in the news, and it showed up again this year in the news. And this year, the Jets fell to 4-7, and there were 47 points in the game. He saw then the differential. It would make sense if the Dolphins won 34-13, because what would matter if they won by 21, and what would that do for their season differential? A $5 bet on a 34-13 score, which is a pretty risky bet. But he's saying I can lose that $5, but I do trust the research I did. It became $600. He's a perfect example of what one man can do with the tool versus the losers who are making videos about how it's a scam and a fraud. Again, there's nothing been fraudulent or scam-like about my work. It's always been priced to ask for a refund from me. And people do ask for refunds, and I give it back. But to ask for a refund, it does make you not just a loser, it makes you a fucking loser. It does, because you learned something very valuable from me. And if you paid attention, I taught you things in that month that are undeniable patterns that you can use for the rest of your life. It's just like we said, if Mac Jones is in this week, he's going to lose. Mac Jones was announced in the game about 30 minutes before it began. And the reason we said it's going to lose is because he get his 25th career loss against the new Giants quarterback who lives at home, who's 25 years old. He lives at home with his parents, they say. But anyway, the Giants won Super Bowl 25. Giants in baseball, Giants in the NFL, the number 25 over and over and over. And you see how Giants is 25-38? The Giants were a huge underdog last week, and we won on them again. Nearly a 10-point underdog at Washington. The Giants became 2-5 away and 3-8 for the season, beating Washington. And Washington fell to 4-7 in the land of DC, which is 47. And last year when they became 4-7, it was also a huge upset where they gave the Eagles their first loss on the day, leaving 47 days left in the year. But yeah, I mean, and again, for people who say that these notes don't help them, people leave comments like that, like, Zach, I signed up for your Patreon, but the notes didn't help me. Well, what I know about you is, and no offense, but I know that you're just not that smart of a person. A person with a brain who listens to the live stream and reads the notes is like, okay, I get why this game is better than that game. It has way more value, a more lopsided narrative, and a longer consistent pattern that we've won on a lot. So it's just like, you guys, it's like a teacher. A professor, he might have 100 students. He might have more than that. In that lecture, there's probably going to be 5 students that excel. There's probably going to be 50 students who do just fine. And there's going to be like 30 some that might flunk out, or they're too dumb, or they blame the professor. It's because they're too dumb. When losers are making videos about me, just understand that's all it is. It's losers making videos about me. Again, I'll stand by these remarks, and you'll never hear these trolls debate it. Yours truly, as arrogant as this might sound, unleash the dopest information in the history of the world about how sports are rigged, okay? And we back that up in a major way. When you losers come here and leave your comments, but will never call in a debate and say, oh, well, we attacked you because you're bullshit. It's like, dude, shut up. We just hit on another future with baseball, 50-1 Rangers. What are you talking about? And it's not just that we hit the future. We revealed something major about it. Like we said, game 1, March 30th. 2023, opening day, where all 30 teams played on the 30th, something that never happened before. We said, isn't it interesting that the Rangers blew out the Phillies by an interesting score, a Major League Baseball score, exactly 267 days after Bush's birthday, when that's the Philadelphia area code. Niners last year, when they lost to Philly, stayed on 267 all-time road wins. Big number that plays in Philly. We said this is a major ritual. And we've talked about how the World Series has been synced with the Bush family before, that has connections to the Texas baseball teams who've been dominating now with the Rangers adding to what the Astros are doing. And those were the first two spaces we circled this year to win the World Series. In spring training, I thought the Astros had a good narrative to go to 5 of the last 7 World Series. What happened opening day, I said, cover the Rangers. They're an even better payout. And Bruce Bochy, by winning the World Series this year, got his 57th postseason win. And again, every year teaching about the same things with the World Series. When the knuckleballer just died as the postseason would get underway, Tim Wakefield, when he died at age 57, I just remind you guys, it's not an accident you got a former baseball star who won the World Series dead at 57. That's not an accident. This is the ritualism. This is the power of understanding the knowledge. It's not just about winning and gambling. It's about seeing through the murder and getting people to stop supporting these leagues and going to these games and paying for these tickets. That's why any troll of this work, you guys are fucking losers. I spend 90% of my day not doing sports, but I do put in a good amount of time in sports, and that's because I'm putting in a ton of time to this work. And again, to attack because you're a moron, literally, like because you're a biased moron. Because, he went 0-2 in college basketball today, but I'm not going to talk about how he went 6-0 in the NBA and hit a 12.5-point underdog. That makes you a fucking loser to upload that video in the world. And the only reason you can afford to see what I put out is because I've always kept it at a really low price, because I never really wanted to charge for it in the first place. That's why the first 5 years that I was here, I did everything for free every day and helped a lot of people win a lot before a dollar was ever made for me. And remember, I got punished for putting this work out. Slandered, harassed, threats, cars crashing through my wall on Christmas Eve. And again, I just kept doing it the whole time. And I kept doing it for years after that before I charged a dime. Yeah, so again, all of my trolls, like if you're some loser out there screen recording and watching now, I'm going to give you guys a chance to call in today. And we'll prove. All they'll call in and do is make fart sounds and burps, because that's all they got. Just losers. And they realize, I want you guys to think about the way my trolls work. We're exposing evil, right? In the Christian world, that's understood as satanic. People who are under the influence of evil, Satan. What's the tactic in the Bible of Satan? To deceive, to lie. What are we exposing? We are literally exposing the lies and the deception. And then I have all these frauds in the world that obviously don't care about that. And then they work overtime all the time to lie and slander about me and chop up a day where we went 6-2 for the day and just focus on the 0-2 and put out another video of Zach the Fraud, another shit day of picks. It's like, yeah, okay. If you take it from a troll whose face you don't know, whose name you don't know. Actually, he did accidentally put his face down there. And it was sad. You guys, I don't want to make fun of people because of the way they appear, but there are reasons that there's been eugenics people in the past that thought it'd be better to get rid of the ugly people from society, because ugly people will live a life of jealousy and probably not being wanted and not used for sexual reproduction. I mean, there's people who've thought like this. Those people are justified in their thoughts when we talk about guys like Lispy, the guy I'm talking about right now. We saw his face, and it looked like he had a stroke at a young age. His face is like out of proportion and drooping, and you feel bad for him, but it's like, okay, this is also part of what's going on. I mean, probably a guy that's been, and sadly, he's probably, the guy that got bullied and picked on, and for whatever reason, he decided to, I'm pretty sure he's paid by Gary the Numbers Jew, who, again, if you guys don't know who that is, he's a fraud in the community and makes people sign an NDA, and who harasses me and who got his ass handed to him in 2016, calling into TFR every night and being wrong about his picks where I was right. And if you guys don't know, in the 2016 World Series, we had it right out of the gate. We only took one team that year, Cubs, to win the 112th World Series. It was all about 108 and Major League and the double stitches on a baseball being 108 and the Sears Tower being 108 stories tall and a whole lot more. Didn't need any retakes. Before the season was over, we knew why the Cubs would win in Game 7, the 112th World Series on November 2nd over the Cleveland Indians, which they did. This poor guy, Gary, who I'm pretty sure employs Lispy and a bunch of the other trolls, because he comes from that ooish money, if you know what I mean. He had to take so many. I can't remember. He kept picking different teams in the postseason who kept getting eliminated. So he's like, there's not even that many. He literally picked wrong in every series in baseball. And then when it was down to the World Series, he's from Cleveland. It was Cleveland versus Chicago. He said Cleveland would win it. And then he was like, Zach's going to be proven a fraud. And then I was like, this guy's going to really embarrass himself. And then sure enough, he did, after taking mulligans on every single series in baseball, missing every single one when he charges a... See, back then, you guys, I didn't charge anything for anything. I didn't have a Patreon. Everything was free. I was putting it out there. He's getting mad because he's aware of this knowledge because he's born into the ooish community. He's probably part of the network. He gets to go on TV and talk about it. He took my LeBron James pick for the 2016 finals and went on Cleveland TV to talk about my findings. But anyway, that guy embarrassed himself, and then even when it was down to 2 teams, couldn't get it right. And then he made some weirdo video after it was over and like almost crying and saying it was because the manager of the Indians didn't understand the date numerology and it was a bad pitching change. And I was just like, listen to this idiot. He's trying to make it sound like the universe is rigging these sports outcomes. What a joke. And all you guys who think that, yeah, there is an organic side. These sports leagues aren't it. LeBron's 44-point loss last night in Philly in the 201st week since Kobe's death after the Mega 4 death ritual isn't it. This isn't organic. This is a sick cabal using symbolism from the Bible that has to do with death and Satan. And again, if you can't discern, like this British twat who came into the community, who learned from me and then totally emulates me, but totally sucks. Again, just a total fraud. And right now he's really emphasizing the Holocaust and how important it is to know the 6 million dead Jews. And he's this British guy who's a total fraud who reminds you that the Brits had control of Palestine before they gave it to the Israelis. Anyway, there's just all these frauds and liars and just sick, disgusting people that have come into this community. And the reason it's so is because we're exposing serious shit year in and year out, day in and day out, proving our points in spades, waking people up, helping people make money, hurting the casinos, not as much as we used to, but still hurting them. And again, you just got morons talking nothing but bullshit each day who will never come on and debate because they know they'll get smoked. Just like Lispy. When he ended up on that short live stream with me last year, he looked like a dumbass, and the person who hosted that took it down afterwards for his benefit. My number one troll had nothing when he actually had to debate, and that's why he'll never call in again, and he'll keep making his bullshit videos because he's a fucking loser. Sorry about your droopy face. That's not my fault. Sorry about all the kids who probably made fun of you. Sorry about all the no pussy, but none of that's my fault, and it doesn't mean you should be some piece of shit shill for Gary the Numbers Jew who's not a good human being, who legitimizes everything that's wrong in the world, legitimizes the news, legitimizes the politics, legitimizes these rigged sports leagues, who never talks about the ritual sacrifice, who's standing behind Donald Trump when Trump comes to Cleveland. And isn't it funny how relevant Cleveland it all is? What do they say in Cleveland Cavs games when they drive down the lane? They say, write down Euclid. Remember where we started? The 47th problem of Euclid? Here, you want to learn that from Gary the Numbers Jew? Go pay him thousands of dollars and sign an NDA so you can't talk about how dog shit the results of his work are. Oh, Gary went 0 for 500 in the MLB playoffs, calling in like a dumbass, and we had it all right from the beginning. And what did he do? And they wonder why they've been kicked out of 1,000 countries. What did he do? He put up a website called Gematria Fraud with my face on it. It's like, oh, so after I was proven right and you were proven to look like a fucking loser, charging all this money when I'm doing it for free, then you're going to put up a website trying to slander me more. And isn't that exactly how the trolls still operate? That's why I say it's a straight line drawn back to that loser who's always talking about me on his social media. Again, for you guys saying why you bring him up, good point. Why do I bring him up? But it's because he's talking about me every day. I'll respond maybe 3 times a year because that's all he's worth. Why don't you expose your cousins and what they're doing to all the real ones, like the Hebrew Israelites would let you know? Gary. Who's Adam going to be feasting on this month? Which former player is Adam going to have on his plate like he's Hannibal Lecter? By the way, the Silence of the Lambs is a nice big 201. About how the feds cooperate with serial killers. Remember last year, the killings on King's Road, the news for the King Charles' 74th birthday. Then they say the killer lives in apartment 201. Then Joe Biden's the same guy gets traced back to Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of The Office, Joe Biden's hometown, where The Office ran for 201 episodes. They said that he killed the kids at 1122 King Road. JFK, 1122, Presidents and Kings, parallels in history, numbers. So anyway, You got here late. One more time. It is November 28th, 1128. Every year on this day, we're talking about 47 rituals. 1128 is the 47th triangular number. As you know, President, White House, government, authority, Republican, Democrat, and the list goes on. All equal 47. The big number in D.C., a president's wife buried on this very 47 day in the very 47 city. And again, when you're some loser out there plastering videos day after day that I'm a fraud, when everything that I teach adds up day after day, it makes you a real fucking piece of shit. That's what it makes you. You're covering up for the frauds. I'm exposing the frauds, but that's how satanic evil people operate. They invert the truth. They turn it around. It's like, oh, the guy exposing the fraud and the evil is, and now we're going to make stories saying he's the fraud and evil. Yeah, go back and think about all the lives we've saved with the knowledge we put out. All the people who didn't become guinea pigs. Go read my book in print. Came out in the middle of 2020. Got it out real quick for COVID with the accurate prediction for when they would wind down the scam, why it wouldn't come until the year of the tiger, which is exactly when they wound down in a time that made absolutely zero sense. You're telling me you're going to end all the flu pandemic shit in the middle of winter when the flu's going on? And people don't even get it. It just shows you how dumb people are. The ritualism trumps the logic. You guys remember that? How they ended all the COVID shit in wintertime? It's like, why would they do this? They were just telling you to get your booster. Now they're just going to end it. The winter's not even over. This is when people get sick. Sorry, the year of the tiger's around. Don't you remember all the tiger symbolism we did? And don't forget, you guys, in Jewish gematria, I mean, we were talking about this. It's in the book. It's how we made the prediction way before it happened. Tiger. Every celebrity coming out with their tiger jacket. You know, Pink, her child nearly died from COVID. She's got them all dressed up like a tiger for all the media shots. Like, okay, see what they're doing here. Chinese year of the tiger, China virus, 201. Got it. A million correct predictions, way beyond sports. The knowledge we taught, obviously true, because we're talking about the same things day in and day out, year after year. Again, you know, feel like instead of having a bunch of losers online making videos trying to trash my name, you'd think there'd be actually some more grateful people in the world who'd been making videos trying to share the work and build up the reputation, help get the knowledge out there. And that's what gets frustrating. It's like there's just not enough people in the world that are motivated to really help out. People are motivated out of jealousy and hate and the bullshit they believe than anything. That's the problem with our world. People got bad shit inside them. And I'm the opposite of that. I always give people way too much credit, way too much benefit of the doubt, too many chances. And look at how many losers it's turned out that I plugged and tried to help build up their platform because they acted like they want to be a part of the community. And then next thing you know, that person's like, their whole channel is dedicated to trashing me. It's like, okay, you have subs because I promoted your channel. No one followed you before. Now your channel is about trashing me. That story's happened like 10 times. That's because there's always fucking losers hanging around here that are like some kind of federal plant agents, no life losers that the guy. And if you guys think this is a joke, go back and watch Michael Moore. I know Michael Moore's not the greatest beacon of truth. He's another one of them, but go back and watch his film Fahrenheit 9/11 and what he revealed about all these new things the government set up in the post 9/11 era to spy on Americans and just how they're infiltrating like every little group there is. He shows in the movie they're like even infiltrating this little old ladies group just in case they're up to something. Again, we live in this giant police state, and it's been built more and more while no one's paid attention because they're more interested in the next LeBron James slam dunk. Who's going to win the next game? So over here, the majority of the focus is not on the game, but the game's an important component of the work because it shows the bigger picture and it hooks a lot of people in who that's all they pay attention to is the game. My strategy at getting out this knowledge was very effective until the major censorship. The major censorship had a huge detriment. We used to be able to get hundreds of thousands of views per video consistently. I only ever had 2 videos that ever showed getting above 1 million views. But look now. Now it's like it's amazing if it gets to 5,000 views. Who knows if the stats are real? Again, they let the channel hit 33,000 the same day they suspended me, which was a suspension over a video about the number 33 in the Tennessee private school shooting, and they suspended me exactly 33 weeks after the video was uploaded. So it could be that the stats are all just totally that fake, and they got the algorithm that good. They're not making the channel a ritual. Like, oh, you want to hit 33,000 subs? You're going to be suspended today, 33 weeks after your 33 video. And in a way, you think about it, it might not be the hardest thing to do with my channel because we're talking about 33 all the time, but you might recall that shooting at that private school, they made a point that it was at building 33 and that 33 teachers worked in the building. That was part of the story. And we kept emphasizing that and how they always figure out how to work in that number in these mass shootings. But yeah, I mean, like, it's like, yeah. And apparently people out there are saying they're going to sue me. Oh, okay. Yeah. Please come sue me for whatever. You're going to sue me for what? For what? For what are you going to go? You're going to go to the court and say, Zach taught me a world-class education and undeniable knowledge at the rate of $5 a month. And I wasn't satisfied. So I want my $15 back. Okay. Take that to small claims court. If that's how pathetic your life is, then I know you live in mom's basement because again, and as far as I know, that these people saying they're suing over this are full of shit because everyone who asks for a refund, I just click the refund button anytime I get the notification. I'm like, okay, if this person's that broke and needs their $5 back, here it is. So, oh, look at the breaking news. The Alex Murdaugh murders are back. I didn't want to talk about that. That was all by the numbers too. Murdaugh murder. Caitlyn Jenner and gender. And Caitlyn Jenner and 201, right? I am Kate. Every big agenda, you just follow the patterns, you start to see that number is there. That number is there, just like we taught about it. Oh, yeah, we just talked about Ron Hodges' death, the guy who played in 666 games with New York, which equals 666 in Gematria. More hostages is what they're not even covering Jimmy Carter. See, that's another thing that I actually love about US culture and just kind of how you can just see how people are kind of dumb and just like believing in bullshit too much. Jimmy Carter is said to be one of the worst presidents in modern history. And the thing about Jimmy Carter is they wanted to make a good man a piece of shit. That's the real thing in the script of Jimmy Carter in this bullshit ass nation we live in where everything's scripted. Everything is scripted for all these puppet politicians, including Jimmy Carter. But the thing about Jimmy Carter is he always came across as a reasonable person, a kind person, a considerate person, a person who wanted to make the world a better place. Everything in his dialogue was right. You can't find a clip of Jimmy Carter like really sounding that bad about anything. Some people might say he sounded naive. You know, he didn't want to go up and blow up and kill all the brown people. And they say that's why the Iranian hostage crisis happened, because he was naive. You got to kill those Muslim psychopaths. Again, that's all part of the bullshit narrative too. Jimmy Carter's probably the most decent human being in the TV era. Well, one of that's been U.S. president. And mostly I think he's just a total scumbag. And the Republican Party absolutely hates him. And then they celebrate guys like the Bushes. And the second one's a total fucking retard. And Donald Trump, who's Mr. Mega, the highest, again, you guys, Mega, the highest degree of the Church of Satan is Mega. And remember, a satanic star is a 5-pointed star pointed downwards. The Republican Party's logo is a 5-pointed star pointed downwards, literally the satanic star. The first tenet of Satanism is self-worship. The Republicans are the me worship party. It's all about me, only my family matters. Very selfish values in the Republican Party, really. And I'm not trying to tear apart. Both parties are complete trash. But again, the fact that the Satanic Party hates probably the most decent man in terms of what he represented and things he said is not an accident. And then you start talking about why he's so bad. It's like, well, the energy prices went so high. Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with the president. It has to do with the Illuminati that runs this world and its economies. The Iranian hostage crisis. Okay, that was an obvious load of shit synced up with Hollywood. And now they're still paying tribute to it with the same number code all these years later as we've been talking about. But yeah, again, for everyone who can't swallow the pill that the Republican Party's satanic, sorry, it's because you're blind. It is the me. It's all about me and my family. That's all that matters party. And we'll go to war with any people who are a darker shade than white. That's the party. Fox News is the racist network where every segment an hour, they got to find some CCTV camera footage of black people stealing something in a store. It's like a regular part of their programming right now. Oh, and then like when Tucker Carlson was on there, another little scumbag who came over from CNN that so many people think is another fake hero, like Elon Musk and Trump. But I mean, that he'd always be making the remarks, little racial remarks. That guy is a scumbag too. But yeah, this is the Satanic Party, the Republican Party. The Democratic Party is also the same type of thing. But It's literally there in the Republican Party symbolism. The downward pointing 5-pointed star, mega, the highest degree of the Church of Satan, like the most satanic president there ever was, where all he did was worship himself. It's obvious. And, you know, Jimmy Carter's a subheadline to Israel. Think about that. And you watch Fox News right now. Again, the synagogue of Satan, right? What news network is on their knees harder than anyone for Israel and hating more than any on brown people over there that live in Gaza? Fox. It's like, it's sick to watch. It's like watching Nazis who support Ashkenazis. And the thing is, just making that statement, I can get taken down for some bullshit. I should be able to say that because that's what it's like watching Fox News right now. It's very uncomfortable if you have a brain. It's like, God, these people are sick. These people are like losing it. I thought it was bad enough the last 9 months having to learn about how I can buy your gummy that's supposedly as good as eating 5,000 vegetables a day that has a Star of David in every ad. Again, it's just like the Go Yum food products. They know a bunch of dummies are watching this. So that the same ones are like, oh, I don't have to eat fruits and vegetables and I can just buy a Balance in Nature with the Star of David in the commercial? Oh, it's like eating 5,000 vegetables, one gummy a day? This is news for fucking retards. The same people who give you the Go Young food at 7-Eleven are the same ones who give you Balance in Nature. Oh, look at this guy. He's in a doctor suit. He said his clients eating one gummy a day is just like when they eat 5,000 vegetables too, so it must be true. Here's another Star of David in the shot. And now, after watching that ad's been on for, I don't know, years now on Fox News. But now look, now that we got Israel back, it's just crazy. It's like, if you don't want to fucking kill Gaza, you're a fucking horrible human being. You should get the fuck out of this country. That's almost like translating Fox News right now every hour of every day with every host. It's like, God, this is just gross. This is so gross. And again, it's why I've been ranting the way I have for all these years. All the fake woke people. Oh, yeah, Zach's an idiot, man. He thinks the Republicans are bad. He's against Trump. He thinks Fox News is bad. Like, Fox is the only real news. No, you're a fucking retard. Just like I always said. It's always been obvious. Weren't you alive after 9/11 when Fox News was so hard on their knees for Iyad Barak and what he said and how we needed to go do everything he just said, which was kill Afghanistan and Iraq, exactly what we did do? Fox News was the biggest war drum for that. It was sick, and it was a new network at the time, too. Just obviously lying to you. Like, you gotta be stupid. You gotta be stupid to think that you can eat a gummy and it's the same as eating a 5,000. I mean, they're showing you. They're like, one Nature of Balance gummy is the same as eating all these fruits and vegetables. Bullshit. I bet you look at the box, there's probably way too much sugar in that thing, too. It's probably unhealthy for you. And you know what? If we went to there's no laws in the nation to stop you from lying in advertisements. You're allowed to lie in an advertisement. It's protected by the First Amendment. But big tech doesn't want to protect the First Amendment. They want to take down people like me and say that we're the liars. Not lying. Again, put my resume of all my work for COVID and the projections and why people should not go become a guinea pig for Pfizer and Monsanto and all these companies, Johnson & Johnson. And again, I was on camera through the whole thing if they hadn't taken down my channel, being healthy, not living in fear, not putting a muzzle on my face, not getting experimental jabs, and not letting the TV scare the shit out of me. I still remember when it was March 2020 and CNN's headline news was, last night, this young 28-year-old went to bed with his wife, and his wife found him dead in the morning from COVID. Went to bed with sniffles. Those stories were all bullshit, you guys. That didn't happen to anyone. No one went to bed with a little sniffle and died in the morning at age 28 from COVID. Didn't happen. And they even started to admit that at the end. That, we might have exaggerated things. Oh, actually, sorry, we left out some details in that story that actually he went out for a drive last night, got in a deadly car accident, and then his wife found out that in the morning. But sorry, the original story we got was that he had sniffles when he went to bed. We missed the part about dead in the car crash. And that's the thing, too, if you guys don't know, in this nation, while you were so busy watching sports games, they created all these new policies so that if hospitals said somebody died from COVID, then they got extra money from the government, which is us, the taxpayers, which is how everything got so crazy, which is why the dollar now has less value, which is something that I told you was going to happen day one when all this happened. I said they're creating inflation. So they're undermining your dollars. I explained all this before they started sending out checks. Everything we talked about was right. You got fucking losers in the world. I hardly have anybody that makes a video supportive of the work. I got 5,000 fucking losers on every social media platform making bullshit ass videos. And I guess that's the way it is when you're doing something meaningful, because the people have the resources to hide some loser with the drooping face who has no life, and this is the best he can do and the best salary he can make. To employ people like that to harass me each day, that's what gets annoying. There needs to be more people in the world helping get out the message of this work, what this work is about, what this work proves and exposes, so that this game can be ended. Again, that's the point. But yeah, let it be known that Fox, the all-American network, and I remember Sean Hannity. I mean, just all you guys who watch Fox News, when Obama was president, actually, no, let's go back first to that. Let's go back to when Bush was president. Sean Hannity would say to people who didn't like Bush, he'd say, if you don't like the president of the United States, you either be quiet or you go to another country. He'd say that all the time, Sean Hannity. What happened when Obama was president? Every night, Sean Hannity's show for all 8 years was just dogging the shit out of Obama every single day. It's like, this is the same guy who told you that if you don't like the president, you should either be quiet or move out of the country. Now he has a president he doesn't like, and every day that's all the show's about. So who's listening to these people? How do they have credibility in anyone's mind? Why is a Sean Hannity credible to anyone? Why is a Barack Obama credible to anyone? Barack Obama said we couldn't vote for telecom immunity for months on the campaign trail before he voted for telecom immunity. He said it would be the biggest violation in the history of America of our constitutional rights. Said it couldn't happen, and then he voted for it. So how can anyone... Again, all these, like, you want to dedicate your life to calling people frauds every day? There's a lot of people on the world stage who are total fucking frauds, who are deceiving millions, if not billions of people who deserve to be exposed. And you're attacking me, probably the guy in the history of the world who brought the most evidence to expose what the Illuminati really is and how it operates, from the Oval Office to the sports game to the news to the sitcom to the movie to why it's R.I.P. Matthew Perry. And again, I taught something in the world that a lot of people learned and they can now do without me. That means I taught a real set of knowledge and skills. So anyway, let me, I just checked the time. It's 1:01 out here in the West Coast. It just ticked over to 1:02. Hold on, I had to check the sweet lady text. But yeah, here, let me open up the phone line. And you know what? If you like the work and the work's benefited you, you can also call in. Or if you're one of these trolls who makes videos all the time saying that we're a fraud and you're the type of guy who ignores the 6-0 and the 12.5 point upset to focus on the 0-2 in college basketball, I mean, call in and explain why you feel justified to make videos saying I'm a fraud when you know you're lying. I mean, please call in and explain it all. So the phone line is open, and we're not going to do this for real long. We'll say 20 minutes of calls. If you want to call in, the number is 509-560-4982, and that number is on the screen. But yeah, positive calls, definitely can phone them with. Negative calls, I like them even more because I like to debate. And I never hear a real debate. I see losers making content about me everywhere, but I never see and you're good to go, Philly. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Zach? I just wanted to say, man, I'm glad that you do what you do every day, man. Everybody, I know it sucks that we can't get a lot more people out there to show the work because we're watching sports and stuff like that because they're all want to put the sports first, but in reality, they want everything to be, think everything's peachy and great, and that's why they watch their sports and they don't care if it's rigged or not. Just like how they deal with our politicians, they don't care as long as it doesn't affect them. Like right away, it does affect them, but it's not like an immediate effect right away. People don't care until it really affects them. Then they're going to start complaining and crying. And what you do is try to help us understand all these things. And it's just sad that you have millions of shills trying to attack you every day. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, you have people trying to debate you and they can't do it. I mean, you don't see Obama or Joe Biden or President Trump or George Bush trying to come on here and trying to have an ethical conversation with you. You will never see that. So
yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if he addressed like, oh, yeah, I never realized that I was number 43. My brother was the 43rd governor, and my dad was the 43rd vice president. And Yale equals 43. But we know that's not gonna be the conversation. They're laughing, and of course we know that. We learned that shit back at the Skull and Bones. So
right, and then and the sports with the sports thing. I have one question about your cipher, because I like your cipher over the other guy's cipher. You know, though, when you put the numerology in, it all adds up to 9, but like it'll say 1188 or 337 or 3366. Is that an integral part of the coding too? Because I never seen you use it.
It's all written how that works in my book. Why it's that way. Why it all adds up to 9. So
yeah, okay.
It's in there. It's in the first book, Letters and Numbers.
I appreciate everything you do for us, man.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so I see a comment in the chat. Somebody says, what was your record? Oh, okay. Back when I was doing this for free, I wanted to always do this work for free. Here, we'll take a call. But there was a guy who was really pressuring me to monetize this and pair up with him. And he's become a major troll of the work just because I never partnered with him. And then years later, he monetized my work before I did. And then he's mad that I never worked with him. And he's not very good at it either. That's why I didn't want to partner. But what's up, 407?
Yeah, what's up, Zach? It's open up from the chat. Keep it real short. Just want to say thanks again. The notes from yesterday hit a 3-teamer plus 737 underdog.
So we had a good day yesterday with some big upsets. How are you doing so far for the NBA season overall? Are you losing? Are you up? Is it a fraud? Is it a scam?
No, I mean, I don't win every day, but I only put $5 in when I have a chance to win, $40, $50. So I'm definitely up overall. Yesterday I put $5 in with 3 teams and came out with 43. So.
And again, here's what I'll say about that. That's why I always teach this way. I don't know anyone in this community who's been with me for years who does just what I say, bets modest, what they can afford, and isn't up. And especially for people who got with me years ago, they're a lot more up because we used to win a lot more consistently, but we still win enough. Even though it's a lot more challenging right now, we're still winning enough. And again, here's Open Up, who's in the chat all the time, and a normal human being like the rest of us. What is your take on the people who think that the work is a scam? Do you think that they're just lying frauds working for agents, or do you think that maybe they're just like dumb people who need somebody to blame?
I mean, it's a mix of two. I mean, if you don't know how to use the work to your advantage, I mean, it's a problem, a personal problem. Because you lay it out every day, we weigh the scales, and then again, like, you're not forcing anyone to bet anything. And then if you do bet, you have the option of what you want to bet. So the people who come in blame you for like picks or saying you're wrong, I mean, these people are part of the problem. These people are part of the cabal, essentially, because they are arguing against what you've been showing for 10 years now. I've only been here for probably, I think, a year and a half or 2 years. And I mean, it wasn't hard for me to see that this stuff is, daily. Only thing I would say is that yesterday I chose the Blazers with the points, and if I would have chosen, them to win outright, it would have been a little more. But still a win's a win.
But a win's a win, exactly, and you can't kick yourself for that. You just made the safer bet, and going plus 737 is a very nice payday. So.
Yeah, so I appreciate you, and then the trolls are going to be trolls. They're going to be here. People in the chat, you shouldn't be arguing with trolls in the chat.
Just ignore them. Here, let them call in right now so you guys don't have to fight with them. For the guys making videos that they're going to sue me, call in and tell me what you're suing me for so I can laugh at your face.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, yeah, later. Yeah, I mean, people on, you're like, you guys, you look at I've wondered about the people. It's just so obvious that people who've come into this community, they're part of some federal operation. They might be connected to Google themselves. They've been given a lot of dollar super chats to make their name known, and then they're like the worst people in the community. That people know their names because they kept giving a dollar super chat for 6 months straight. And it turns out they're like some whack job weirdo just trying to make things. And it's like, okay, it's all starting to make sense. It's just like the one guy who's not funny. He's like a little midget bodybuilder. He says he's going to sue me right now. Remember when he came in the community, every video he'd make, he'd be like stuffing food into his face. It'd be like food on his face. And I'd be like, these are not good looking Gematria videos. Like if you're watching a Gematria, this guy's just like cramming food into his face and like chewing with his mouth. I was just like, that's why I used to call him Taco Money, because I was like, I knew it was weird. I was like, oh wow, this guy who so anyway, you guys, there's just been signs that a lot of the people who've come out of the woodwork as super weirdos, there's been signs that they were weirdos from the beginning, and I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I got to stop doing that, because, you know, your senses go off right away and you're like, I don't know if I want to associate with the guy that's got like syrup all over his face while he's doing his gematria decode. It's like, come on, man. You can't not eat while you're filming the 3-minute video, or you're just eating at all hours of the day. So, and exactly, not only when you work at the gas station, again, one of these guys who there's literally a guy who parks at the gas station where he works and then streams about me all day. And when he does these long streams driving home, this guy has to drive like 2 hours to his job in the gas station in the middle of the mountains. It's like, imagine being that person. How many gas stations did you have to drive by before you got to the one in the woods where they let you work? I mean, I got some real weirdos. It's like, I don't know how they got in this program where they harass, but they're all weirdos. Think about it, you guys. Who drives hours to work at a gas station? That means nobody will hire you, and there's a reason for that. 347. Yeah, what's up?
Can you look up the I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. The veneer cipher is VIGENERE.
What are we talking about?
Can you Google the I'm gonna spell it out for you. The VIGENERE cipher.
Okay, I see it's got a Wikipedia up. Okay, I never heard of this. All right, so what is it?
And yeah, it's gonna tell you right there. It dates back to like ancient times, and then it's gonna lead you to the Caesar cipher, and it explains like how they got into decoding back then and all that. So it's a really interesting thing that you should look up. And yeah.
Okay, it's a more complicated cipher. Very interesting.
And it says click on the Caesar cipher right there.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, it gives a pretty good breakdown and stuff. But this is in your first book, you pretty much touch on all this. Like your first book is amazing. Thank you. Thank you for all your work. I'm gonna let somebody else get in. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, he brought something new. What's up, Carl?
Hey, Zach.
How you doing?
Hold on a sec. I'll get you on live on your screen there. I've just called in about the next live stream here about the sports.
Yeah. How's it going?
So I've got you on my mobile at the moment, so we're talking away here. Well, I've found out that the number 3 is a very important number because of the 2 numbers I figured out today, 1 and 2. 2 being the second day of the week, the working week, and number 1 is the added on from the gematria numbers of the dates. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I figured out today is a Tuesday, and by the way, are we sorted for this newspaper advertisement to build to rent a building to print our newspaper?
You get the Gematria Effect newspaper? I can only say so much, but I love that idea, and we're definitely getting closer to having something like that, some kind of magazine, some kind of place. But going to have to get a lot more support behind the work, but definitely getting closer to those types of things being a reality. So I'd share more information, but I have so many losers in the world that just try to sabotage everything I do instantly that I have to be a little bit secretive in terms of things that I'm starting to accomplish about, again, getting to something like what you're talking about right now. So,
yeah. So, anyways, that's great news. So, it's it's demanding this work, and how much you put in to the work, you see. Does the number 19 have any recognition for today's numbers? Because 1 and 9 equals 10, and 10 is how I get the 1.
Okay.
And you plus the 2 for the days Tuesday, second day of the working week equals 3. And I've worked out 55, 46, 82, 73, and 37 in reverse.
Okay.
And I've had a few bets on the day, and I've had a few winners.
I see.
GGs.
Just keeping it simple.
And the soccer as well, I knew Manchester City might draw, and Newcastle United in the Champions League will win 2-1
I see.
because of the 1 and 2.
I see.
And the numbers of the soccer players' shirts, same with the NFL, NBA, you know, the hockey and Major League Baseball. So, yeah, I know it's all scripted and all that, you know, I've learned a long time. So, in regards to those numbers, 19 is the numerology number for all of the added dates. So the numbers today, 28th of the 11th, 23. But you do not the zeros, you know, we're not that.
Sure.
So 1 and 9. I think that's just to catch up, and also I received your mug last week, but 2 other items I haven't received yet, but they're on their way.
Taking a long
So
time.
I've just got to keep chatting, be patient.
Well, thank you. Thank you for supporting. Carl,
support.
You're like the only person in the world that buys any of the stuff from the site. So I do appreciate it, Carl. Thank you.
Well, I'll just give it away for nothing to me carers, you know, who help us out.
Well, I appreciate it.
So regarding my health, I'm doing well. I'm better than I've been, and I'm improving
That's good.
every day, you see, because I've got some work for a competition to complete before the 30th. And I've got pens and paper. I'm getting some help with the carers who are encouraging me to do that.
Very nice. That's good.
So hopefully we'll get that knowledge out there with the newspaper. And we'll beat all these, the New York Times and the Star and the Daily Express. Well, we'll not beat them, we'll just get rid of them all. It's all fake news.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
But keep on carrying the good work, and I'll hear from you soon.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks again, Carl, and keep getting better.
Yes, as always.
All right, you have a good day. Or have a good evening. It's a little bit later over there. All right, you take care, Carl. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
905.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, is that?
Yes. You're on. I'm talking to you. You might be watching through the video. The video's on delay. Just talk through the phone. Talk through the phone.
Okay, I recognize your voice now, Zach. Sorry, you made me a little bit nervous. I just came across this book. I wanted to tell you about it. It's a fluke find that I found in an old used bookstore called Stranger Than Fiction, and it talks about a guy who climbed up the World Trade Center in 1977, May 26, 1977, yes, and his name was George Willig, and it makes me think about Jared Leto and his climb up the building. And, you know, in the 70s, they did a reset in Canada where the school system changed to semesters from a different systems. So I think that was a reset in the 70s, and this is history repeating itself.
Hold on.
The word.
Was this book by Chuck Palahniuk?
I'm sorry?
Is the author's name Chuck Palahniuk?
The author's name of the book is called Martin Walsh.
Okay.
And the book is called Stranger Than Fiction.
Okay.
And it's just got a bunch of little stories in it. And the one story is called The Human Fly. And it's this guy who climbed the World Trade Center. And it made me think of Jared. And there's a picture of the guy doing it on the front of the book. I can send it to you if you want.
Yeah, I'll look that one up too. There's a book by the same title that's also a bunch of short stories by Chuck Palahniuk, and that he's who wrote Fight Club. And Fight Club, the movie, came out just before 9/11 and ends with the buildings in free fall. So there must be some relation between these books. And of course, 77 is the big number on 9/11.
Thank you so much for answering. I just thought this was freaky that, I just am looking through this bookstore that I go in quite often, and it just flew into my hand. It's just like, wow, I can't even believe this is repeated as well. It's bizarre, right?
Indeed. Yeah, I'm going to find that other one.
I do appreciate you, Zach. Thank you so much for your work. And those haters, just don't ignore them. Don't give them your energy.
Well, the thing is, they have a huge impact. So it's like when I that's what you guys don't seem to get when I respond to this. The reason for the response is to hopefully meet the person who's being persuaded by these loser trolls. Because sadly, it's been a lot of people. It's just, and it's amazing to me. I'm like, wow. It shows me how pathetic a lot of people are. If for anyone who's ever fallen off this work because they were persuaded by a loser troll, I mean, it makes them a loser troll too. But I'm trying to help people not go that way. And sadly, people aren't very smart. That's why they're easily misguided. So these videos are about trying to get people to see the correct picture. And, the psychopath will challenge be like, Zach thinks the correct picture is when you agree with him. Well, what is disagreeing with me? Tell me what's not true about this statement. I've been here every day for over a decade showing how the media is lying to us to lead us down the path of deadly agendas, how they're wasting people's time, scaring people, having these ritualistic sports games that are totally rigged where they're sacrificing people. Like, what part about any of this has been incorrect? So
I really see it too. And I don't know. I'm shaking my head every day at how people are still blind. It's hard, but I have to think that, not everybody's going to survive this. And I guess maybe that's why. You just have to kind of have a little bit of faith in what's going on, and only certain people are going to know what's going on.
Right.
You can't help those who can't be helped.
Indeed. And yeah, well, thank you very much.
The more conflict we have in our lives, we're under attack too. So you have to remember that,
Sure.
It's spiritual attack.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I appreciate the support. Thank you.
Zach. Thank you so much.
All right, you have a good day.
You too.
All right, take care. Yeah, and again, I mean, the same trolls that are making videos all the time, they'll probably go live as soon as my live stream's over to talk about it. But again, it just only exposes how pathetic you guys are. The fact that you would not call in, but then you'll go live and just repeat the same bullshit. You're not suing anything. You're a loser who lives in your mom's basement. You work at a gas station. 772.
Yo, Zach, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, man?
So I wanted to talk about the trolls, just, give my insight on what I've noticed. I actually had an experience with Right that I kind of thought was kind of weird before he turned on you. And like what I've noticed about all these trolls is everybody that's a troll right now, like they're all connected. They've always been connected. Right. He's always been connected to all these larger channels. It's like, how do you get connected to these larger channels? He's some nobody. He has some shitty little channel that barely has any subs, compared to these larger channels. He gets less views than I do on videos. His videos suck. I debunked one of his videos 2 years ago. I made some videos debunking one of the ones that he uploaded. And he somehow, how is he connected to these larger channels? Those larger channels are impossible.
Well, again, no offense. I appreciate that we got you as a young supporter, but you, in a way, I'm if I had to give you a nickname, it'd be come on, man. I know you're Mr. No. It's no shit. We already know this. You're calling in, telling me things I've already said, and this is what you do a lot. You call into the show and tell me things that I've said back, and I'm like, okay, I know that because you've heard me say that. So we already know this. And again, somebody told us he was a Fed when we were in Oklahoma City. So we've been warned. It's very obvious. And now everything makes a lot more sense. Sometimes you just got to watch things play out for years. And it's like, yeah, obviously. So we don't need to call back in and bring up trolls and say everything that we've already said and covered. I mean, you're telling me what I've said. So you do that a lot. You call in and tell me what I've said. I'm just like, okay, I obviously know that.
I'll tell you what you haven't said. I know what you haven't. Well, I don't know. Whatever. Sorry, I got sidetracked. But the experience that I had with him is back. Remember when I did that thing on your birthday that I like went out and pounded pavement? I gotta do that again soon. But anyway, when I did that, that was supposed to be like a big event. I was like planning for like 2 months, trying to get like as many people on board to doing that everywhere, all over the country as possible. And I contacted him, and I know that he saw the messages, and he never responded to me. And I was like, well, I mean, this guy's supposedly like a supporter or whatever. Why wouldn't he be down with doing that? Like, I know that he got the message, you know, and it's like, and he never responded to that. I thought that was really weird.
Here, I'm going to let somebody else get in, man, but I appreciate it. Thank you for always trying to help out. What's up, 206?
Hey, how you doing, Zach?
How you doing, man?
How you doing? I was calling because I saw an article. I'm not sure if you made mention of this article about the 11, I believe the 11 hostages and 33 Palestinian hostages being exchanged.
Oh, 11 and 33, huh?
Yeah. Did you see that? Because I saw that you did a video on the hostage situation, but I'm not sure. Okay, let me.
I have like 20 videos on the hostage situation. I've been covering it day in and day out.
Okay. Did you see that one though? I think it was CBS.
I missed that headline about the exchange of 11 and 33. I didn't see that one.
Okay. Yeah, that one caught my attention yesterday. And then I think something else that I was gonna mention, but as far as these people that as far as this madness that's going on, I've been observing that you've been dealing with the last week or two, or however many weeks. It's just par for the course, and just to give you some encouragement. I mean, the less is more, man. You know what I'm saying? So just keep at it and do what you need to do, man.
Indeed. Well, I appreciate you always supporting. Thank you.
Not a problem. Take it easy.
All right, man. You have a good one. Seeing what the latest Michael Jordan headlines are. But yeah, again, people will make videos about me all day, watch the content, try and chop it up to slander. You just see they'll never call into debate. Never happens. All the opportunities in the world, nobody ever does it. So, are you calling the number on the screen? RIG 509-560-4982. I mean, it's a phone, so call them when somebody's on the line. That's why I'm not picking up, because somebody's already talking. But now the line's not. Wait a minute. Am I getting dyslexic? Is that the number? Or is it 509-506-4982? Is it 5? I can't think right now. Is it 560 or 506? If nobody's picking up at that, try 506-4982. Cannot think right now for some reason. Sometimes the line doesn't work. Let me see if there's a way to confirm that that's the right phone number. Yeah, that's the right number. It's 560-4982. It's right. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working for you. That's weird. But maybe it's working for nobody right now because there's no calls coming. Here, let me shut it off and shut it back on. When I turned it back on, a call came through right away. Maybe that's all it needed was a reset. 337?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing much, man. How's it going? I just wanted to have a little bit of a casual conversation. What kind of is your best release from, this subject matter? Like, what's your favorite hobby?
I don't know what you mean.
Like, do you enjoy maybe video games or a sport to play?
Oh, well, I can tell you're new. I used to always, I got injured right before my 30th birthday. And before that, I was always active. I just play sports, all kinds of sports at the gym. I mean, that's when I got injured, I couldn't do anything and I started reading more. And that's actually when I found this knowledge. And then for the last decade, I obviously don't do as much physical, but historically, that's what I like to do is, be active. So,
Yeah. I was just thinking, how do we get your information out to more of the casual fan, more of the people who aren't really deep diving, right? How do we, because maybe it's not palatable for them to come in and really try to listen, right? So
maybe just go back to just when things happen in the world that are just so obvious. When Dick Butkus dies before Thursday Night Football, where the Bears get their first win of the season, things like that. Just go. Don't you think that's weird that Dick Butkus dies and it's prime time and Bears are playing night and Bears are all of a sudden looking like a Super Bowl team in that one game? I mean, they blew out the competition that night after they couldn't do anything all season. Things like that. And then that's where you could say, and here's the Gematria piece. Look at this. The Bears got the franchise win that equals Dick Butkus' whole name in Gematria. They stood on the exact same amount of losses that is. So things like that. I mean, that's how I'd be waking up people just every time there's something really obvious in society to point out.
Yeah, and I think sports is a great link because that's going to reach more casual. More people are interested in sports than maybe politics or something like that. What's going on in the world?
Yeah, for people who don't know, back before when my channels were not separated and just my channel back in the day was just called Zachary K. Hubbard, and then it was Zachary K. Hubbard 2 and 3, and I kept getting deleted. And by the time it was like Zachary K. Hubbard 16, I switched over to GematriaEffectNews and Gematria Effect Sports. I made 2 channels to keep the sports and the news separate because I thought the sports channel might stay up since it's usually the news stuff I get a strike for. And that's worked because Gematria Effect Sports hasn't been deleted, but I've gone through like 8 more news channels since that split. And the thing is, though, back when it was all on one channel, I could tell that YouTube hated the most. They wouldn't strike me for it or delete me, but they'd punish the channel. Anytime I did a video exposing a big sports game, the channel would not grow by a subscriber for like one whole month. A month would go by. It wouldn't even be up 1 sub. And I would have had like this viral video. I'm like, this is impossible that the channel hasn't grown at all. And this video got all these views. So they've always hated both kinds of content, but they don't delete me for the sports stuff. Well, they did actually delete me and suspend me last year for the Timberwolves Memphis video, how it was connected to the Memphis police beating of the man at the start of the year. But normally it's not the sports stuff that gets me in trouble. So anyway, yeah, there's examples that happen every day to show people. You could explain what I said at the beginning of the video about why they're Jimmy Carter's wife's funerals today. I mean, explain to people how important 47 is to Freeman. I mean, if you guys missed the beginning of the video, go back and listen to that. That's something to share with people. What is 47? You teach them what is 47. You're talking about it all the time. There's 47 rituals almost every day in the media.
I'm just coming back into you, so I haven't been following along with everything you've been up to date with. I used to follow you, and then I didn't see you in my feed for a long time, and I got off of YouTube and whatnot. But so it's good to hear from you again and everything. I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to get in and kind of, get your thought on how to reach more casual fans, because I think that's important for your growth. And I don't think it just has to be by you. I know you have some fans here who could maybe do clips and, put their little take on it to help spread it or whatever. But yeah, I was just interested in spreading that.
Okay. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for the call, man. I'll let you go.
All right. Thank you. For the person who wants to call in, the number's on the screen, 509-560-4982. (610) 610. You're on.
I didn't know if I was on.
Yeah, you're on.
I had a question. If I wanted to start a channel, right? So I wanted to call it, because I got all these crazy pictures of the moon and shit. So I wanted to call it Craters on 21 or 201. So if you put moon in there, it's 21 and the most pure. Could I do a channel called Craters on 201, or like Craters on 20 with a 0 through it and then a 1? Like, would that make sense?
I get why you'd call it that. You can make your channel whatever you want, but yeah, I see the rhyme and reason to your channel name.
So I figured if I go on there, just show a couple pictures, talk some shit. Like, if we just took like 5 or 10 of, people kind of like lingering in the background that aren't really doing anything but are capable of doing something, I feel like, because I'll watch the numbers and you'll have like 2,500 views in like an hour, and then it's just, and it cuts off. Or it's not even, maybe 2,500 views in 30 minutes, and then you get nothing.
And that also, I mean, back in the day, that would have been really disappointing. I mean, there was a time when every video I put out when the channel was booming in 2017, every video got at least 10,000 views, and usually within 30 minutes to an hour. And that's the way YouTube used to be. So it's like, what I wonder is, were all those stats fake and inflated back then? Was YouTube inflating their stats to make it just make it seem like more people are on the platform so they can charge more to advertisers? Or have they really figured out a way to like cut off people's videos from reaching people? Because it's just like, how could it be that back then? And now it's like, we're way better at the research, way more accomplished, way more to talk about. And now we can't get any attention. So
there's this woman, her channel is called, I haven't listened to her in a while, but her channel is called Tori Says. And she worked for John Brennan for like a dozen years. Her last name is some kind of Greek name. It's like Tori, I don't know, something weird. But she said from the jump that they were inflating people intentionally. And then when the time came, like they would take that income away and knock them down. And this was all like, if you go down and see who's funded by who, like none of the, quote unquote alternative media are funded, but like they're all funded by the same, there's very few channels like yours where they're not getting money from a bigger operation. But my point was, if we just take do I need anything more than my phone and the computer to upload a video? That's all.
No, you can do. You don't even need a computer. I mean, you can literally make videos on your phone and upload them to YouTube.
So if we got 5 or 10 people like me calling it whatever, and then redirecting shit to you, there's no way they can stop that, right?
Well, they might take down your channel too. They might take down your channel. That's the thing. There is a lot of censorship for covering this material, and that's something that I've noticed. A lot of people have tried to start a channel and then they get deleted and censored before they even get going, before they even have a following, and they feel like they're just wasting their time. I mean, the algorithms and censorship have ruined it for a lot of people. But you know what? If you become a troll of mine and you troll and funnel people here through the trolling method, they seem to not take down the troll videos. So maybe that actually is the strategy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They seem to be able to do it. I mean, Christ, and these guys, man, like, I don't know where the fuck they come from, man, but I've been on you for like a year and a half, 2 years. It's fucking weird. It's really, really weird. Like, can they all be getting paid for this? Like,
well, you got to ask yourself, who would troll 24/7, 365 if they weren't getting paid? I mean, literally, your whole life is dedicated to trolling me, because there's a few people in the world who can claim that.
Somebody who's mentally ill and obsessed with you. Like, these guys are fucking with you in real life,
Right, and you know what? So, like, if somebody was doing that to, say, Joe Rogan, if somebody was just uploading videos out Joe Rogan and putting out his address and stuff, YouTube would take that down in a minute and make sure that they could not post. Their whole channel would be deleted. But see, YouTube allows people to do that to me, and that should show you everything right there as well. By the way, the guy who threatened me for Christmas Eve, the weirdo who threatened me for Christmas Eve before a car crashed through my house on that same Christmas Eve he threatened me for, he had a video that began with like this Hollywood-like production of lightning and pouring rain and a woman all duct taped. And when I uploaded a clip of his video, because it begins with that, and then his threat for me on Christmas Eve, I got suspended for 2 weeks for uploading his video showing his threat to me for copyright, and nothing ever happened to his video. That's the kind of platform YouTube is.
But that's like a creepy obsession, though. That might be going beyond hate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's creepy as hell. And you said the one guy's been doing it for the whole time you've been around.
Yeah.
10 fucking years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if that was happening again, if Joe Rogan's girl was getting threatened or something like that, they'd be getting arrested or something.
Indeed.
All right, I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to do this thing and see what happens. Like, if a few people do it, and maybe it'll start to catch. I just don't see how they'd be able to like establish some kind of connection between myself and anybody else that tried to do it, and you other. Well, I guess the algorithm could do that too. Fuck.
But yeah, to set up a YouTube channel, you need a Google account, and then with your Google account, when you log into YouTube, there's in the top right corner, it'll be like create YouTube account, and then.
Yeah, Zach, I already did everything except put my name in. I just been dragging my feet with it because I wanted to talk to you first. For sure.
Well, so here's how easy it is once you set all that up. You just record the video with your phone. And if you don't give them your phone number, you can only make 15-minute or less videos, which is an option.
Okay.
But you just record with your phone, and then when you go to the YouTube, you open it, there's a plus button, and it says upload video. You would just upload that video and put a title on it. It's that simple.
All right. I'm going to give it a shot, man. And like the thing is, like, I'm not going into it, you know, giving a shit about monetization or anything like that. I'm just trying to get a way to get traffic to you, you know? Like, there's
Or it doesn't have to be just getting out the word, getting out the knowledge, but I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, man. Yo, you going live on Wednesday?
Yeah, I'll do TFR this week.
All right, I got some good shit
All
for
right.
you on Wednesday.
All right, appreciate it, man. All right, later.
All right, man, I'll talk to you.
See. All right, last call, and then I got to run, you guys. Last call, 386.
Hey, I appreciate it, Zach. Good to see you, bro. You don't miss a beat, it seems. I remember years ago I had called you, and I was nervous as could be. But I wanted to ask you something for a long time. I remember in your book, you had this organic gematria, kind of how it plays out in the natural, like for good things when it had to do with relationships and families, right?
Right.
For about 7 years, brother, I would always pull that up and see whenever I had these prospects, and I always thought there was something there. And I finally found it, this person, and all of ours match except for the reverse. Is there any problems with that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, righteous, brother. Hey, I had one more question. I see that I haven't seen you in a while doing a lot of sports stuff. I see. Are you getting into any of the true biblical dates, like feast days and stuff like that, and looking into like the greater timeline a bit?
Sure. I mean, for example, in 2017, when the channel got taken down, one of my main reasons for thinking the channel got taken down is because we had it all pegged why there was going to be this horrible false flag event in the U.S. around the time of Yom Kippur, probably the worst false flag event since 9/11, and that's exactly what happened. The Yom Kippur mass shooting in Las Vegas and Sin City, where Yom Kippur is about atonement for your sins. So yeah, we've always looked at those biblical holy dates and how they align with the rituals. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. For sure. Is that the Hillel 2 calendar, or is that the
Well, Yom Kippur is on the Gregorian calendar, but I mean it's mostly on the Hebrew calendar, right? So it's the Hebrew calendar that's more specific. And again, it's just like sports. It's sports in that calendar. Yom Kippur is about judgment. Aaron Judge set both of his home run records in the time of Yom Kippur, passing Babe Ruth, and then who did he just pass last year? Why can I not think of the guy who hit 61 home runs? Maris. He passed Roger Maris last year in Yom Kippur when he beat Babe Ruth's record and Roger Maris's. He did it in Yom Kippur, which is about judgment. Aaron Judge. It's just the rituals are so obvious if you're paying attention.
Yeah, bro. There it is. I love it. Okay, bro. I appreciate that.
All right.
Hey, one question. You don't miss a beat, man. I see you from days ago, just stepping strong, mighty in the spirit, as always. It's impressive. I gotta ask, are you vegan?
I used to be. No, I used to be. Actually, I tell Sweet Lady that I think the one thing I'm doing wrong in my life is I'm not vegan anymore, and she argues that we're not. And she said her thing was because she was. I got her on the vegan thing for years, and we were doing it. But then the dentist told her she was losing gum material, and he thought maybe a little more animal protein in the diet would help. And then the reason that I heard that argument is because the dentist was telling me that I was losing gum material too, and I thought, God, is that a downside of being vegan? Do you lose gums? There might be a way around it, but anyway, we still eat mostly a plant-based diet, but we do have some meat and animal protein in it. And anyway, so that's what it is right now.
Cool, man. Sorry, I know this is a little more personal, and the stream's rolling. One more question, bro. Are your dreams pretty active right now?
I think smoking weed, one of the downsides of smoking weed, if you do it for a long time, is I think it kind of ruins your dream process. This might not be true for everybody, but it's so rare that I ever remember a dream. It might happen to me like once or twice a year that I'll even remember a single thing that I dreamed about. So it wasn't like that before. When I was younger and I never smoked weed, I always dreamed. After I start smoking weed, I seem to just like lose the ability. I must be dreaming. It's just you don't remember it. So.
That's right, man. That's right. Okay, I hear you, man. Well, I would have been interested to hear about your dreams, bro. I don't know where you're at with as far as timelines, but it does seem like the days are coming. Does it not? How much longer can it go on? All this stuff, right?
Indeed. I'm gonna let one more person get in, and then I have to hop off. But I appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
How long, bro?
All right, take care. All right, I said I was done, but 702 keeps calling over and over, so they got to get in. What's up, 702? You're the last call.
What's up, man? It's RIG, Wrestling Gematria.
Oh, yeah, you got through. Okay, good. I'm glad I took your call.
Yeah. I've been trying a little bit. But I just want to say thank you, man. I was born in Portland as well. Woke up with the 9/11 thing just like you, and it's hard to watch sports anymore, just like you say. Super hard.
Indeed.
Also, I want to say thank you. You decoded my daughter's mom's death months ago, and I want to say thank you for that as well.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry that we even had to decode that.
Well, either way, it opens my eyes up to everything, and you're doing great work, bud.
Well, thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Yeah, have a good day. Take care.
See you.
It's funny. He's from Portland, and I don't know if he lives in Vegas anymore, but his area code's Vegas. But it just reminds me that when I was a kid, I remember there was a brief moment where we were going to move to Las Vegas. It just came back into my mind. I was like, I wonder what would have happened to my life had we moved to Las Vegas. That almost happened. My dad was so sick of his job. Actually, I guess there was one moment in his life where he realized he was getting taken advantage of, but then he just went back to it. But he was like, I'm going to go to Vegas and be a realtor. They're selling homes like crazy down there. He had this idea out of nowhere, but then it never happened. All right. But yeah, I do got things to do. And again, you guys, for all the trolls out there, you guys can keep slandering and having whatever impact you're having if that's what you want to do with your life. But I like the trolls. If you guys don't understand, you're never going to deter me from, anything. I'm just always going to know the score, that you guys are losers, that you're on payroll, that you got nothing, that you won't debate, that you got no balls. You really got no point besides your chopped up videos that are totally misleading. Oh, Zach sucks at sports. He went 0-2 in March Madness Day. It's like, yeah, that video's for chumps. They want to believe that that's what happened today, and they're going to ignore that we went 6-0 and hit the 12.5-point underdog in the NBA. You know what? I guess it's their loss for investing in the word of a fraudulent loser whose face you never saw, whose name you never knew. If you're going to hate on me, you come over to my channel and don't like what I'm doing, it's probably because you're a loser. It's probably because you want to believe in the Matrix and all the lies. You're so invested in all the bullshit. No, those are facts. And it's facts over feelings. Shout out to the very nice woman who makes these shirts for me. Oh, it's funny. Almost all the clothes I wear, and you guys notice I wear the same clothes almost every day. Almost all the shirts I have are from her. And, some of the hoodies I have, Holly sent me, and somebody made the Chris Cornell shirt with the Jesuit sun around it. And people are like, oh, see, Zach's an agent. It's like, dude, that guy made that shirt to make the point that the Jesuits did Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell born on the 201st day of the year. What's the guy from Lincoln Park who died on Cornell's birthday, supposedly hung himself after Cornell supposedly hung himself? Cornell, born on the 201st day of the year with black hole sun, 201, dead the year of the great American solar eclipse, and then on Cornell's birthday, the Lincoln Park Singer Den, 201s all over the place. But yeah, that when I wear that hoodie with the Jesuit sun rays and Cornell's face in the middle, it's not because I'm a Jesuit. It's because dude sent me the sweatshirt and I like it. And I only got so many clothes to wear because I'm not about the materialism. So, yeah, Chester Bennington, thank you. That's it. And shout out to Dana as well. Of course, Dana. Chester, R.I.P., Dana with the shirts. Arizona State Sun Devils. Yeah, it is fitting that I went there. That's where I was when 9/11 happened, but that's definitely not a Jesuit school. The Pope did go to Arizona State, though, the Sun Devils, and doesn't that make sense? Hey, look at that. The whole time I was at Arizona State, I didn't even realize that the Pope had gone there years before. It wasn't while I was there. It was like in the 80s. But look at Sun Devils. Think about that, you guys. Sun Devils 35, right? And that same cipher, Catholic 35, like JFK number 35, the first Catholic, like Biden inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. Holy See 35, Europe, which they used to rule over the Catholic Church 35, Jesuitism 35. So yeah, it is. I do find it ironic that I was an Arizona State Sun Devil. And why was I a Sun Devil? Again, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. The reason I went to Arizona State, I mean, there were a few reasons. One was I got scholarships there. I didn't get them to in-state schools. And the other thing was Arizona State was super inexpensive, everything compared to like Seattle, where I almost went to University of Washington. If I didn't go to Arizona State, I probably would have went to University of Washington and been a Husky. But I wasn't thinking about like the school name being Sun Devils. I was thinking that it was in a nice sunny place with beautiful women where it smells like oranges outside and it was inexpensive. So yeah, you know. But yeah, I love how the trolls are always just trying to paint the picture from the things I shared about my own life. Zach was a Sun Devil. Yeah, so were a lot of people. But one more thing before I go. John Mendoza, he says, how would you explain Gematria to a 10-year-old? I think I would explain it just like this. Like I've said before. Just start super simple. The most simple cipher. A is 1. B is 2. C is 3. And just go through everything 74 you can possibly remember and think of. And remember, English is 74, Gematria is 74, energy is 74. Again, Hermeticism, another ancient teaching like Kabbalah and this. Everything carries a vibration, has influence. Every letter, every number, every shape, every sound, everything has energy. Occult, meaning hidden. Masonic, holiday, this nation's birthday. London, we're speaking English. Supposedly got free on 74. Everything go down with this list. And then I don't know how dark you want the lesson to get. If your 10-year-old likes thinking about, you know, you can point out how 3 of the first 5 presidents died on 7/4 and killing 74. And so is stabbing. And the 74th day of the year is the Ides of March. Remember the stabbing of Caesar. And then you can talk about, you know, how that's Rome. And then the religion of Rome was Christianity and Jesus, where Jesus is 74, like cross and Messiah and gospel and parables. And maybe they were a big Kobe fan. And you can talk about the ritual with Kobe in the 74th NBA season, the parallels to George. You know what I mean? You can, and with regards to it all being biblical, of course, Jewish is 74. And then, you know, you think about killing, you know, you got Genesis 7:4, where God says he's going to kill everything. Genesis 7:4, one of the most infamous things in the whole Bible. 7 days from now, I will send rain on earth, and for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. And don't forget the word drown when you run it the other way. Or actually, I take it back. No, drown is 74 when you run it forwards. Who died in the 74 ritual this past offseason for the NFL? Was it Ryan Mallett? Was it Ryan Mallett in this year's 74 ritual? The other year, it was the girl in the 74 ritual in Diablo Canyon from High School Musical. But Ryan Mallett, if I'm not mistaken, got the 74 drowning ritual this year. Oh, yeah, and then that same day, Ryan Seacrest was named the new host of Wheel of Fortune. Tough day for the Ryans. There was a Ryan dead from a rock band. Now that that's all coming back. Ryan Mallett dead at 35, former QB, big football number 35. You all know about 35 Thursday. Ryan Mallett played for the Ravens and the Texans. All those 66s, the NFL, the 66 league. 66 is the 11th triangular number. The first Super Bowl season was the 66-67 season. NFL 66 in Jewish Gematria. But Fox News' headline, deeply saddened, deeply, like in the water, like he drowned, like a little mockery. for their audience that thinks they can eat a gummy and get 5,000 servings of fruits and vegetables each day, because it has Star David in the end. Deeply saddened, 66, how they code it. The sick joke. He died 75 days before the Ravens played the Texans. Baltimore, Maryland, 75. Israel, 75 right now. Israel war began on the anniversary of the death of Edgar Allan Poe, the 174th death anniversary. New World Order 174, like Baltimore Ravens, like how Mike Tomlin got his 174th win against the Ravens the day after the 174th anniversary of his death. About the same time, they're naming Usher for the Super Bowl halftime performer, and the fall of the House of Usher is out, which is based on the Edgar Allan Poe poems. I'm talking about all the deaths with Baltimore all year, and where Jim Brown fits into the Browns, who became the Ravens. But yeah, Ryan Mallett. Drowning is 104, one of the 104 deaths, many 104 deaths for this 104th NFL season. Ryan Mallett was the 74th pick of the draft and dies by drowning. Drown, the description 74, you know. He died on the day, leaving 187 days left in the year. Last night, 22 points in Monday Night Football, 22 days after Josh Dobbs' debut with Minnesota, and he falls to 2-2 on the year. 22 men on the field. But yeah, there was like 3 Ryan things all in the same day, and one of the Ryans benefited. It was Ryan Seacrest named the new host of Wheel of Fortune. And Wheel of Fortune equals 74. It's one of the cards in the tarot. Tarot equals 74. That's another 74 word. Again, you're going through that 74 list. Tarot's occult knowledge. Tarot 74, like occult, like gematria, like English. Like how the tarot cards are brought up in regards to 9/11, where the towers came down on the 74th meridian. I've been working on all sorts of little short children's books, and I'm just trying to get them so that they're right for a child. It's kind of hard to write about this topic for children because a lot of it is dark. It's like, how do you make it fun enough? It's going to be the lifelong goal, figuring out how to educate children with this knowledge the right way. But eventually it'll happen. And Ryan CU, he was the other dead person on this day of all this Ryan news. Hold up. Ryan CU. The band was called Polaris, which relates to the star on the Masonic compass, and Masonic's another one of those 74 words. Dead at 26, magic number. There were a lot of things about this guy's death, but one was that he died 74 days. So this is all the same stuff. The 74th pick of the draft, Ryan Mallett, is dead in a drowning. On the same day, Ryan CU of this rock band, you know, here's the story in CNN, and about how the album's coming out. Slew died on June 19th. It mentions the new album, Fatalism, comes out September 1st. So he died 74 days before the album comes out, right? Gematria, the killing name. The band, or Slipknot, did that song. Gematria, the killing name. But all in the same day. And then Wheel of Fortune, in this cipher, is not 74. But when you use numerology, Wheel of Fortune is 74. So just think about that. Ryan Seacrest gets this promotion, and he's getting a big payday, right? Imagine how much money you get paid to be the host of Wheel of Fortune. Here, let's see if we can find out. How much does Ryan Seacrest make for being the host of Wheel of Fortune? $28 million per year. Okay, so he's getting good news, right? He's going to make $28 million per year. Add to his resume in the entertainment world. He's already. I mean, how much money is Ryan Seacrest worth? Let's see. Well, before he was making $50 million a year, maybe. Oh wait, it's estimated his net worth is about $450 million. So he's a multimillionaire, right? He's benefiting from this world of entertainment where it's like one person's gain is another person's fall. And we see this every year. We're diving in every year with the drafts, former players dying in a clear ritual that's usually connected to the first round pick. It's like, okay, he's dead. Last year, the former USC Heisman winner. Look at this, you guys, from 43 years earlier. USC 43. Football also has the gematria 43. The Heisman winner from 43 years earlier is dead, as we get the new Heisman winner also from USC, and they have the same initials. Both of their initials are CW. And there was more to it than that. It was more than that. But just the 43 was a big piece with USC. RIP's got that 43. Run it the other way. Killing in football's 43. Masonics 43. So, yeah, I keep going, but I do got to get out of here. There's somewhere I'm supposed to be. They'll wait for me, though. They got something else to do while they wait. But, yeah, again, thank you to everyone who does hit the like and the share and supports the work. And adios to the troll. We gave you a chance, but you didn't call in. The trolls always, what's the number? Like they're going to call in and then they don't. Isn't it funny? So. Well, $1 million is still a lot of money. You can do a lot with $1 million, and it takes a long time to earn $1 million. I mean, if you have the average salary in the U.S. for an adult with a working career, which is around $50,000, that's 20 years you have to make $50,000 to make $1 million. But you really have to work a lot longer than that because they're taking all these taxes out. So you might make $50,000, but how much do you actually keep after taxes? If you're lucky, you might keep about 2/3 of that. So you really got to work 30 years, the average American cycle, to make $1 million. So you look at it that way, it's still a lot of money, but then like you're saying, it doesn't buy, like back in the day, we were growing up kids in the 80s and 90s, $1 million was way more than it is now. $1 million house in Seattle is not that nice of a house anymore. You're like, damn, that's $1 million house. Place looks like a dump. You guys, my house that I lived in Bothell that I sold because we moved to Yakima for Sweet Lady Go School. The housing market went up like crazy after that. And that house became worth almost $1 million. Not even a nice house. And I paid $200,000 for it at the end of 2011. And now the market's come back down. So now it's like rated at $790,000. But I got that same house at the end of 2011 for $200,000. Right now it's worth 4 times more than what I paid barely over a decade ago. I mean, that's crazy. So, yeah, they definitely devalued the currency. And that's all by design, you guys, because the society is being destroyed, which is why I've been here for over a decade explaining that, you guys, if we don't stop what's going on, quality of life will continue to diminish. Things will continue to get more expensive. There'll continue to be more taxation without representation. There'll continue to be more of a police and surveillance state. The same people who did 9/11 got away with it. They're still out there. They're still controlling the world. What will they do next? Again, everything that we've been talking about consistently, you're seeing how it's all unfolding. You're understanding why somebody like me has been as motivated as I have been for all this time, because it's like, see, everything that I warned about and saw coming, it is coming. And the reason I knew these things were coming is from doing research and paying attention, something most people aren't doing. We're trying to snap people out of the coma and get them back into reality. But yeah, all right, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Oh, just wait. Perfect. I look up at the clock. It's 2:01 out here on the West Coast, but it just ticked over to 2:02, which is also, that's a more fitting sign-off time for me, 2:02. Of course, yours truly was born on the 202nd day of the year, but wasn't by design. It is a reminder I need to get off, though. I'm supposed to be somewhere by 2 o'clock. It's only 5 minutes away, though. All right, True Seeker, until next time, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. If you guys want to see me, out in LA for the Kobe Bryant statue for the Super Bowl, you can really help me out by pledging $1 a month. If I can show Sweet Lady that we got back up to somehow 6,500 people pledging $1 a month, she'd be like, okay, you got the support back. Maybe it is time for another road trip. Every time I say that, though, I'm not seeing anything change. It's like, I think the people who are reaching are the people who've already decided to support or not. If you're somebody who watches all the time and is never supported, and you would like to see those things happen, think about pledging $1. If not, I don't have any promises right now because, again, I just can't make an argument over here and get my better half on board. And it's unfortunate. There should be way more people in the world than 2,500 more who can pick up the slack. There should, like I said, there should be 1 million people in the world who can pledge $1 a month, at least for this work, in light of how important it is and how much bigger it could be if we had everything I always talk about. Full-time studio, staff, people, professionals. Again, think about it. It costs money to get people who are great with computer skills. Big tech's paying them between $100,000 and $300,000 a year. How are we going to get talented people to help us when Google's hiring them all up, and Amazon and Facebook? Again, we could afford to pay people like that if we had enough support in the world, but there's not enough support in the world. There's not enough people who really are down for the cause, and that's a damn shame. Should be. There should be, millions of people in the world who said, like, man, he's helped me out so much, I can give $1 back a month. That would have happened if more people were truth seekers and spending time here. Instead of doing whatever they are doing. Desperate housewives, keeping up with the Kardashians. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Till next time, Truth Seeker.